Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between a couple of nations who are learning about tariffs. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Saturday, March 15th, 2025, and this is the TNAM AM Show. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to unpack so many stories. It's never been this busy. I don't know if it's just the ability to aggregate all of the information into a couple of spots, but just looking through the Instagram feed, looking through the X feed, there are 1,000 stories to cover today. But the title of today's show is about the Obama Doctrine has, what I say? Has failed. That was the exact verbiage. The Obama Doctrine has failed. Why has it failed? Well, and hello, Kenneth. Obama. F that crap. Ow. Yeah. The Democrats thought you were so dumb they could run Kamala Harris and still get the win. That's really all you need to say. They thought you were so dumb you'd accept that Joe Biden is the most popular president in American history. Let's just set 2020 aside for a second. We all know what happened there. They knew that their Harris strategy wasn't going to work. And oh, look at what happened in Butler. Look at what happened on the golf course. They went after Trump. But before that, they went after Trump to try to throw him in jail for the rest of his life. On, wait for it, trumped up charges. Trumped up charges. Misdemeanors turned into felonies. Things that have passed statute of limitations, wave a magic wand, kapoof. We can go get him, says Letitia James, says Alvin Bragg. Good luck with that. These people have been cocky. These deep state globalists, these divisive Obama Doctrine acolytes. They felt invincible. They felt empowered. They felt like it was okay to weaponize our justice system on Americans. Oh, yeah. White supremacists are the largest threat to America. And what's a white supremacist? Anyone that disagrees with us. Oh. Okay, so the Obama Doctrine was to divide. He's a community agitator or community organizer. He's a Marxist, Leninist, globalist, deep state puppet. With a war chest full of George Soros-funded minions, millions of minions, millions of peaches, peaches for me. They went hard in the paint. They figured out what's the easiest way to money launder. How can we steal as much money as possible? Okay, let's go something neutral. Green. Let's go with the environment. That'll do it. If the environment is the issue, we can get away with all sorts of things. We'll start NGO after NGO. It'll be the Healthy Climate Fund, the Happy Earth Group, the Sustainable Green Paradigm. You ever see that South Park episode where they have the manatees? I think the manatees. Hang on, let me get the plot line right. Manatee plot line, South Park. It was about for Family Guy episodes that they would All right. Two-part Cartoon Wars, part 1 and 2 in, oh my gosh, way back in '06. Okay. Cartman visits Family Guy Studios to get the show canceled, only to discover that the writers are a group of manatees named Gretchen, Flubber, Tigger, Pete, and Lucy, living in a tank. These manatees randomly select idea balls labeled with nouns, verbs, adjectives, and pop culture references like Gary Coleman or Mexico. The balls are then mechanically arranged into the show's signature cutaway gags, short, unrelated comedic bits that South Park mocks as being disconnected from any meaningful plot. The episode suggests that even if one idea ball is removed, the manatees refuse to work, grinding Family Guy production to a halt. Their frustration being compared to a show they felt relied on lazy, formulaic humor rather than coherent storytelling. All right. So the point of me saying that was to say the NGOs that pop up, they just grab some word salad. Kamala Harris, blah, drunk or high or just mentally degraded. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching the New American Media and TNAM AM show right now. Let me put this on the screen. Where is the captions? Oh, I got to change folders. That's what happened. I think. Where are the captions? There we go. These are the places you can follow the New American Media. Do a search on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search The New American Media. Hit subscribe, hit like. If you're watching on an app, hit the heart button, hit the thumbs up button. By the way, Kenneth is in the house. Who else is in the house? Say hello, type your name or type your initials and where you're watching from. The New American Media is also on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. TNAM for the New American Media. We're on X at American_media_. And our podcast is the Agree to Disagree show that puts all the TNAM AM shows along with the Agree to Disagree shows on that podcast on Spotify and Apple. Also, if you like the program, we're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and Fuzz Installment on PayPal. So please link up with us. These NGOs popped up, and it really is just, hey, Grok, put together some gobbledygook, like a bunch of manatees throwing nouns and verbs and things together for random storyline arcs. It's been money laundering since Al Gore had the hockey stick that never happened. And then they take the NGO money that they steal from you, they take it to the federal government, they toss it to a non-governmental organization, which is a governmental organization. I don't know why they're called NGOs, but I think because they were allowed to get away with it. It was their little costume that they wore. Then the NGOs would then fund, like the crazy people who are attacking Teslas and attacking Tesla owners and the ones that burned down America in 2020. Then the Minnesota Freedom Fund popped up and people like Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi and, all the regular cast of characters, the usual suspects, really encouraged burning America down because they thought it would hurt President Trump. They weaponized COVID because they thought it would hurt President Trump. They ran nonstop divisive campaigns on their media because they thought it would hurt Trump. And they really thought it would just hurt anybody who's not in their Marxist camp, their Leninist camp, their globalist camp. And that's what Obama ushered in. He was the ringleader from 07, 08, and he's run roughshod for almost 20 years, trying to impeach President Trump, trying to throw him in jail so that he could be Epsteined, trying to JFK Trump out in Butler. These people have no shame. They have no moral compass. There's nothing they won't do to maintain a little bit more power and control. And they lost. Now, we're not done. Let's not say we're done. Because it's like Ronald Reagan said, that freedom isn't a birthright passed on to the next generation through their blood. It's something that has to be fought for. It's something that has to be protected and defended against every generation will have their bad guys, their Obamas, They're Bidens, they're Harris's. But right now, for the first time, maybe since we can remember, we're on the right track. Now, you could look at Donald Trump. You can look at the Speaker Mike Johnson budget that they put together. Rand Paul and Thomas Massie, two of the only common sense people in Congress, are like, yeah, you can count me down as a hell no. No thanks. I'm not passing that. That's way too much spending. You're nuts. But at least Trump has been cutting. I don't even know what the number's up to. Are we at $1 trillion yet? We're at hundreds of billions now. But you now have activist judges. But it's okay. They're popping their heads up. It's the same cast of characters. Chukan Sam. Okay, so how do you remove these judges? When they're activists, how do you remove them? When you're 36 trillion in debt and there's judges that are saying you're not allowed to stop spending? Yeah, I don't think you run the country, judges. I think we voted on the president that's going to do that. And it's not like there's anything unconstitutional about saying this spending is out of control. We're not doing it. This is my administration. We're not going to do it. They said, sir. I know my throat's a little scratchy right now. I got to learn how to master the laid back Trump. I got to work on that one. But the Obama doctrine has failed. They are flailing. And you're seeing people lashing out like a mortally wounded animal. Just anything within grasp, a drowning person, just thrashing and gnarled teeth and growling, shrieking. They're done. There's no leader in the Democrat Party. Is it Jasmine Crockett? Is it AOC? Good luck with that. Is it Pelosi and Schumer and Bernie and Pocahontas? Good luck with that. Hakeem Jeffries? Gavin Newsom? Good luck with that. These are some of the most unliked people in the ecosystem of politics. They're rudderless now. That party, you saw a lot of people a couple days ago announce that they're not going to be seeking re-election. You know why? They've done polling. The Democrats are toast. But while the Republicans have power, the number one thing they're going to have to do is fix the voting. You cannot have votes without verifying identity status. You cannot have the U.S. Postal Service involved with millions of mail-in ballots. No thanks. No. Show up and vote. If you're in the military overseas, fine. If you're an American citizen working abroad, okay, you've got a reason. You can verify your ID. You can send it in. You can verify your signature, your identification, a selfie with the date of you doing this, or they'll ask you to hold up a number of fingers on your hand or something. There's a way to do the minimal amount of mail-in votes, but you have to do nationality verification. You have to make sure that the people who are trying to vote are citizens. And that has been the Democrat plan, is to flood America with non-Americans and then tally up a pile of votes and then just drop them into the mix and go, oh, look at that. Look at that. We're popular. We're 51-49 country. No, we're not. We're 80-20, 75-25, three out of four for common sense, not for Republicans, not even for Donald Trump. It's just for common sense. But common sense ain't that common these days. And so we're going to unpack a bunch of stories. You're seeing it globally. You're seeing it locally. The zeitgeist has changed. The divisive Obama community agitation, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson style of political shakedowns, phony racial division, the abusive bully tactics employed by the media, employed by the schools. Wait till the Department of Education is shut down. Wait until you can hold these teachers accountable. for all the flags, for all the ideology, for all the stuff they are pushing into the kids' brains to wreck them, to ruin them, to indoctrinate them into their cult. It is a cult. It's an anti-American, anti-self, anti-reality cult. And Obama's been the leader for close to 20 years. He's not the brilliant mastermind. I'm not trying to say that. He can read a teleprompter well, but get him off script. That guy's a bumbling fool. It's not like even George Soros is this. It's bigger than this. The idea that Americans have had it too good for too long and that we need to lower our way of life. We need to dump the third world into America, balance things out a little bit. That's the Obama doctrine. That's the globalist plan. That's the Soros agenda. Soros getting all that money to fund all of these district attorneys in the big blue cities who will let criminals continue terrorizing their communities. Look how bad Jokeland is. They lost the only In-N-Out burger that's ever closed is Jokeland. They lost all 3 professional sports franchises. Have you been to Jokeland? I went there. I was doing business up there. I had clients up in San Francisco and Oakland. The place is a mess. They lost the Golden State Warriors. They lost the Oakland A's. They lost the Oakland Raiders. Everyone wants to flee these crumbling blue cities. Yes, David, things do really need to change fast. Yes, Kenneth, we should invest in prison stock. Biden years, they were a bumbling B movie. Yeah. So we're going to unpack a couple of things today. We're going to talk about Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. We got a lot of perspectives to get to, but that really is kind of the general gist of things. And the other part of it is that people are exposing themselves. People are really showing you their true colors. And when people show you their true colors, you got to listen. Here's Bill Burr. Did you catch this gem? I guess I'll see the post. Will it still show up? Okay, that's good then. Bill Burr on The Breakfast Club.
And like a few years later, this guy sieg-heiled twice. Two of them. Once in the front, if you missed it in the back. And it's just like, he still has a job. That guy still has a job. I don't understand those guys. And this isn't politically. It's just like, I don't understand why they're so upset with this country. It's like, you're billionaires. I think it's working for you. Like, why are you going
upset with the country? You mean upset with $36 trillion on a credit card, spending more money every single year than we bring in? That's suicide. That is a suicidal pact to ruin your nation.
And telling everybody, justify what you do. It's like, fucking justify what you do.
Mm-hmm. You don't understand the concept that this was a proof of life test. What Elon had assumed, because I don't know the numbers, there were piles of emails that weren't getting logged into. Hence, are these even employees? There are 30 million people who are dead that the Social Security Administration marked as alive. There are 30 million illegal aliens in the country. How are they working? Didn't Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez allegedly have an illegal alien on her campaign staff? How was she getting paid? Or how was he getting? I think it was a he. How was the campaign staffer getting paid? Was he using a fraudulent Social Security number, committing fraud? So yeah, send me an email. Tell me what you do. Or we're going to eliminate this position because we assume it's a fake job. That's people who work at these NGOs. You get checks for doing nothing. Oh, $1 billion to Stacey Abrams. You know what you could do with $1 billion war chest? A lot. Bill Burr used to be funny. Bill Burr, I paid to go see Bill Burr. It was okay. It wasn't that great. Comedy's tough. It's weird. It's like there's this thing in comedy where They say once you write your 60-minute set, once you do your hour and you do a special, oh, that was awesome. That was great. Put it on Netflix or do it on HBO or, wherever people do it. Okay. All right. Now it's time to start working on your next hour. I get it. Musicians make an album, then they go tour on it, then they make another album. But they're going to play their hit songs off the other albums when they go tour. Comedy, sometimes it's like they expect a whole new hour every time. And I'm like, yeah. But if the Rolling Stones can play shit that they wrote in the 70s, why can't Mitch Hedberg go tell some jokes that he wrote 5 years ago? I think you can. So a lot of times when you get comedians, you're getting, you're getting stuff that they're still working out. I've been doing it for like 2 months now. Every week I rewrite the set. There's a few things that I sort of lock into and kind of continue on. Sometimes that changes. But Bill Burr, I don't know. He used to be funny. Our comment on the Instagram feed, it said, so Bill is on the list? He has to read the script? ? Do they have dirt on him? Now he's working with Disney, ABC, ESPN, Disney, the worst company for pushing divisive, Marxist, globalist, anti-white, anti-male, anti-straight, anti-Christian agendas. They're addicted to it. Jimmy Kimmel used to be funny. Have you seen him in the past 10 years? Have you laughed at anything Jimmy Kimmel has done? He's not even trying to be funny. He's just angry, anti-Trump, anti-MAGA. Well, what are you for, Jimmy? Kamala, Gavin, Obama, Harris, Biden? What are you for? Yes, I tried one improv set. I got to ask better questions. I could blame the audience or I could blame me. Anyway, Bill Burr continues.
That piece of shit car that you're making that the government financed.
Okay, so the number one selling car in America is a piece of shit car. Dude, this guy, he's not being funny. He's being Jimmy Kimmel right now. He works for the same company. He was in The Mandalorian, right? Am I getting it right? He was in The Mandalorian, maybe? Did Disney put him up to this? Piece of shit car. Have you been in a Tesla? Thing goes from like 0 to 80 in like a second and a half. You're like, whoa. I'm not a big fan of self-driving cars. But it's a piece of shit car now? Like, was that a joke? That was a punchline? What was the setup? The setup was billionaires are bad. Elon's a Nazi because he said, from my heart to you. When the Democrat Party's literally funding the Azov battalion in Ukraine, a group of Nazis. Okay, Bill Burr.
No?
But you know what you just said? You said,
yeah, no laughter because you're not funny. You're doing a Jimmy Kimmel. Someone says, hey, I got you on tape. Do what I say or else your wife's going to see this. Oh, okay.
that Elon still has a...
That's how it's coming off to me. I don't know that he's on a tape. I don't know that he's being forced by Disney to do this. But that's what it seems like.
job. He's the richest man in the world. There's nothing they can do to him. And that's all he proved. There's nothing anybody can do to him by throwing up when he did that. What do you take from him? He's not Kyrie Irving. He's not Kanye. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, but you keep, I don't know. Listen, I don't know how this shit works. I'm just saying that, if you said the wrong thing as a comedian, all of a sudden you lost your TV
But
show.
you're not the richest man in the world. If you was the richest comedian in the world, ever.
What I don't get,
Imagine Bill Burr
what
with
I don't get
money.
is the amount of veterans that people in the armed services that died trying to stop Hitler, and then this guy comes in.
He comes in,
and does that.
Says, from my heart to you. Is he wearing a Nazi hat? Is that what's going on? And by the way, ask the Democrat. What was Hitler's thing? What do they say? He didn't care for what was happening. He wasn't a fan of the Jews. Are the Democrats fans of Jews or are they fans of Palestinians? That's an easy answer. That's not a question. Antifa put on different suits. They put on different headdresses, and now they are pro-Palestine. It's the same mobs of people on the streets that burned America in 2020. The Ukraine flag in the bio, same group of people, professional paid agitators. Just tossing that out there for perspective.
While being an immigrant, too, which is kind of the whole thing, just none of it like tracks how you can be to support the troops, you know, America, love it or leave it. And then this guy comes in and gives a shout out to Hitler.
A shout out. That didn't happen.
Makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. So, I don't know. But then somehow that gets like politicized. I'm not trashing Republicans. All Republicans did not Sieg Heil. That guy did. And I was just amazed that all liberals had was one day of outrage. And they're like, all right, I guess that didn't work.
No, it didn't work because it's a big nothing burger.
We just kind of move on.
Because they realize they can't do anything to him. Like, what do you do other than send out some angry tweets?
Anyway, just kind of ridiculous. Bill Burr's lost his mind. Oh, got to change it back. All right. Here's an interesting point. Imagine an entire party devoted to illegals, pedophiles, transsexuals, criminals, foreigners, and human traffickers. A party that takes the knee for George Floyd but refuses to stand for a child fighting brain cancer. Can you imagine this party telling the rest of us that we are the problem? I mean, when you put it that way. Yeah, Jimmy a break. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel hasn't been funny in forever. It's the Trump derangement syndrome thing.
What?
Here's Andrew Schultz. Oh, good. It fits in the screen. Here we go.
People like about Trump, despite him being like a billionaire who got money from his dad, right? He doesn't talk like them. He talks like me and you. Mm-hmm. The Indian journalist is asking him a question, dibble dabble, and then all of a sudden, dibble dabble, and.
Did you see when Trump was trying to take a question from that Indian reporter? He said, "I'm sorry, could you say it again?" He's like, "I have no idea what he's saying," because I didn't either. It was not ineligible, inaudible. What am I trying to say? Unintelligible, indiscernible. I couldn't make out what he was saying. I was trying, but the guy wasn't speaking understandable English. It was very. I couldn't make it out, but this is what Schultz is talking about.
Then he goes, I don't know what the hell that guy just said. That, to me, is the most relatable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I go, yeah, that's what I would have said. That's what he would have said. Mm-hmm. That's what you would have said if we were just hanging around on the corner talking.
So you like Trump because you don't feel like it's political. He's just himself.
I'm not saying the reason why I like him. I'm saying the reason why people relate to him despite him being a billionaire. Because that's the thing Democrats don't seem to understand. They're like, they say that we're in the pockets of the rich, but there's a rich guy right there. Why do they relate to him? It's like, do you see how he talks to people? He called Shorty Pocahontas in the middle of the fucking Senate hearing.
Yo, and you know what?
She's sitting right there.
It's been normalized so much that wasn't even a headline.
Nobody said anything.
They were like, oh, that's his
She
old
got to
hit.
sit there and take it. Yeah, Pocahontas over here pointing at her.
Nobody cared. Talking about Elizabeth Warren.
But by the way, the point is that she's not Indian. She just found a way. Oh, I can get a job. I can advance my career if I lie about what I am. That's the DEI crap. Oh, well, you're more hireable because you're Pacific. You're 1% Pacific Islander. The fuck? That has nothing to do with job requirements. That should never be an issue. And for someone who's a straight white Christian man, what do I have on my resume that I could get ahead? It's using race or sex or ethnicity to get ahead is abhorrent to what the United States is supposed to be. If we're supposed to be equal for all, it needs to be equal for all. It can't be equal for some, but more equal for others. What is it in George Orwell's 1984? Or I'm sorry, Animal Farm. Some animals are more equal than others. So yeah, he calls out Pocahontas because she cheated to get an advantage. I mean, what? Barry Obama said in the Harvard Columbia Law Review? And lists that he's from Kenya. He was the editor of the. Hang on, let me pull it up. Obama editor. There we go. Law Review, Kenya. Now, these stories all start to get convoluted. I'm aware of this. Editor of the Harvard Law Review. He was the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review in 1990. A promotional booklet from his literary agency in 1991, that was Acton and Distal. Oh, they're saying incorrectly stated that Obama was born in Kenya, raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. We don't know that's incorrect. We know his literary agency used a promotional booklet and said that about him. Part of a bio to promote his forthcoming book, which later became Dreams from My Father. The editor of that bio, Miriam Goderich, later clarified it was fact-checking error on her part, not information provided by Obama. So there's that. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, and it's not just that Trump talks like normal people. Don't forget our comment that we posted. On the top 100 most important issues, President Trump's right about 90% of the time, while the deep state puppets only get about 5% of the important issues right. MAGA is just the party of common sense. It's not political to just be like, hey, stop the war. Stop that other war. Let's stop getting abused on tariffs. Nope, if you do it to us, we're going to do it to you. We're not doing this anymore. Nope, we're going to cut the wasteful spending. We're $36 trillion in debt. Now, I don't like the continuing resolution with the budget for the next, 6 months to October or something? Not a fan. However, I mean, just get past this first budgetary thing and work on a better long-term plan. I get it. I don't like it, though. I don't like that. I don't like the Pam Bondi's taking too long. We're going to get to Pam Bondi in a moment, but I think people like Trump, not just because of the way he talks, just because of the things he's saying. Keep men out of women's sports. Yes. What? Why did you segregate? Why did you separate and segregate them in the first place? Because common sense. Trump just pushes common sense stuff. And all right, 1 out of 10, you can go, oh, no. No, Trump, there's no way I want to go into Gaza and rebuild Gaza. What's that video you shared? No, I don't want that. You're crazy. And then you're seeing that there's Middle Eastern policies that are being discussed right now, seriously, about funding the rebuilding efforts in Gaza so Trump doesn't have to do it. Maybe the whole point of that 4-dimensional chess move that you hated so much was to say, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. You want me to turn this into a hellscape like in that video? Trump and Netanyahu lounging on a beach, rubbing each other's bellies while golden statues of Trump. Come on. Like, that had to terrify those Arab nations. Like, no. We'll do it. No, we can handle this. He's like, that's what I thought. They said, sir, what if it's all a ruse? What if it's a ruse? So anyway, I just think it's more common sense than anything.
It wasn't even a headline. Nobody gave a damn.
He's making fun of African nations. Mm-hmm. He's like, we gave $40 million to Lesotho. Nobody knows what that is. That's hilarious.
I laughed out loud watching that. And nobody does know what that is.
Like, especially being that I didn't know what it was.
Neither did I.
Nobody did.
Was that a real nation?
Oh, when they was running down the stuff at the city.
Yeah.
I thought that was all jokes. That was real.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, it would have slapped if he said, well, come.
You thought that oh God, that was so good. This is I talked over it. This is the funniest thing I've ever heard this dude say. And I paused it at the wrong, and I can't reverse it. What's this Breakfast Club guy name? Charlemagne. He said, I thought, what I clicked over and I interrupted it. He said, I thought it would have slapped if he would have said, we're giving money to Wakanda.
If he would have said $5 billion to Wakanda.
That's the mineral contract we need.
That's the mineral contract that we need.
I need that vibranium.
The vibranium. That was funny. That was maybe the funniest thing I've ever seen from Charlemagne. But yeah, it's not just that he talks like you and me. It's that he promotes the obvious stuff. Hey, remember how I mentioned Jokeland and what happens when you let idiot leftists run that place into the ground? I don't know what this is from. It says breaking news live. I don't see a CBS, NBC logo. I don't know what this is. But they're saying this is Oakland. Let's just watch this story. I saw this yesterday.
Home of a 102-year-old man targeted by vandals
because of the graffiti.
Wheelchair-bound, Oakland-born, 102 years old, Victor Silva Sr. often finds graffiti painted onto his back fence of his Oakland home where he's lived and paid taxes for 80 years. Earlier this month, he got a violation citation from the city of Oakland to remove it by Tuesday the 19th or face an $1,100 fine plus an additional $1,277 for each failed reinspection.
It was so absurd, it's like a joke.
I'll be 103 in 2 months or so. Let's slow it up a little bit, you know.
These days, that task falls to his 70-year-old son, Victor Jr. The family owns a nearby...
I just love hearing your 70-year-old son. You're like, whoa, wow, okay.
A small commercial building which has been broken into 3 times in the last year. On one occasion, Victor Jr. found a person inside.
So he's in Oakland, and they're breaking into the place, and they're graffitiing the place, and they're making him the bad guy instead of arresting the thieves, the vandals, the trespassers.
In each case, he called 911.
They can't answer 911, but they can come out and hassle you about a fence.
The city inspector called me back and said he will do an immediate inspection and presumably cancel the citation.
The home of a...
just, you know, Jokeland priorities. I didn't see any. I don't know what this story is, if it's factual or not. Something about it seems off to me with just how it says breaking news and breaking news live, but I don't see like a NBC thing. Far be it from me to watch one of the lying legacy media companies and say, see, that's legit. That's legit because it was on a lying legacy media company. But anyway, something about the story's off, but that really does kind of speak to backward priorities of leftists compared to MAGA people. There's common sense, then there's crazy. If there's a crazy opinion, I mean, come on.
The school board meeting was contentious from the start.
Respect our kids in school.
One more burst, you'll be asked to be removed.
I'm sorry, but you can remove a parent, but you can't remove a teacher?
Anger and frustration from every parent here after police arrested 2 teachers on Tuesday accused of sexually abusing students.
I am so angry about this.
Yeah, and that's, you can remove somebody from a town hall meeting, but you can't remove a teacher. These teachers unions have got to go. It's okay to, you know, it's okay to work toward good working conditions and nice benefits, but not to protect the bad teachers. No. It needs to be super easy to get rid of the worst people instead of putting on administrative leave and making sure they get paid forever and ever.
Community members demanded action from the school board after they say they stood by for years as teachers in question abused kids, and accusations.
This is St. Helens High School.
Were ignored. This week, police also arrested a second St. Helens teacher on abuse allegations, 64-year-old Mark Collins, who's now retired. His charges include 2 counts of sexual abuse in the 2nd degree. And parents here say there are more teachers and coaches their kids have raised alarms over, they say only to be rebuffed by school and district officials.
You need to step down.
St. Helens, the school board meeting was contentious from the start.
And Grok is saying St. Helens High School in St. Helens, Oregon. Eric Stearns, a choir teacher, Mark Collins. Okay. Abuse 6 students from 15 to 20. 2015 to 2020. Okay. Just they didn't have the context in that. But yeah, you got to watch these teachers unions. You got to protect the kids. It's that simple. I like this thought. At this point, they should just change the phrase conspiracy theory to logical assumption. Conspiracy theory to logical assumption. Now, because it's found out that egg prices are down, here's a live feed of Democrats deleting their posts about high egg prices.
It can always
there you go.
turn around.
Delete. Now we're not obsessed with egg prices. The Democrats are just, they're thrashing around. They're trying to scramble at anything to ruin Trump. How about scramble at things to fix America? They don't care about fixing America. They care about ruining Trump. They care about ruining Elon, ruining Tesla, ruining X. They tried to ruin X with all the advertising boycotts. They see people that disagree with them, and instead of coming up with better ideas and better arguments, they try to ruin people. That's the Obama doctrine. Yeah, they have left us. Leftists have left us. This was a great, who's this? Rupert Lowe from the UK.
Watching Trump and the Americans.
Watching Trump and the Americans.
It has made me even more determined than ever to restore our unique country through a great repeal act when Labour falls at the next election.
Doggone it. You got music in the background. It's going to get flagged on YouTube. He says, I don't particularly care if we're liked by the rest of the world. I care if we're respected, because right now Britain is a joke and has been for some time. I want the British government to put the British people at the top of the agenda. We should make no apologies for that. Learn from Trump. Let's be unapologetically patriotic. Slash tax across the board. Enforce the border. Deport those with no right to be here. Accept biological reality. Fight back against wokery. Bulldoze nonsensical foreign aid. Eradicate DEI. Deliver sensible infrastructure. Carpet bomb public sector waste. Brutally crack down on crime. And plenty more. Let's make Great Britain great again, isn't it? I added the isn't it. But you see, this, yeah, nothing saintly about it. There you go. David's jumping in on the jokes. St. Helens, nothing saintly about it. My high school was the Blue Devils. Blah, 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 blah. When Elaine did that to Putty. Oh, God, that was funny. But the Obama doctrine failing has led to this. He's watching America. He's watching MAGA. He's watching Trump. He's watching common sense going, we're going to do this in Great Britain. Great Britain's become a joke. The domino effect that Trump has given people to lift their chest up and speak boldly. Oh, blimey. Listen to that bloke over there. Governor, isn't it? It's a nice day out today. Maybe we'll take our swimming cozies out to the beach. They call them swimming cozies. A swimming cozy? Yes, a swimming costume. You mean a bathing suit? Oh, yes, a swimming cozy. A swim cozy. One of the ladies that used to watch my cats in Los Angeles, she talked about swim cozies. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? What do you even, what? But the Obama doctrine has failed globally. Obama has been working with Soros and the NGOs to flood sovereign nations with non-residents of those nations, to permanently change their demographics, get a different voting bloc, overthrow the established cultural norms of those areas. The UK, Ireland, Sweden, England, just look around Europe. The Obama doctrine has been to force, oh, it's a migrant crisis. No, it's not. You're doing this. Oh, there's a crisis at our southern border. There's no crisis. Deep state Democrats are complicit in a traitorous act to flood our nation in an invasion of military-aged males. Uninvited. Never voted on. Not legal. They're running games. Look at what's happened at the border. What, it's gone from 1,800 crossings to 77 in a month? The Democrats, oh, we need to pass a comprehensive immigration bill. We need a new law. That's all we can do. That's the scam they pulled on Reagan back in the 80s. Reagan fell for it. Trump's not falling for it. The UK is rising up against it. Sweden rising up against it. Ireland rising up against it. It's happening. It's happening globally because the same crap they were pulling here is the same crap they've been pulling everywhere. It's one big club, and you and I aren't in it. Oh, no more woke blokes, isn't it, governor? Isn't it? Anyway, I guess this guy's name is Rupert Lowe. I'm not familiar.
Watching Trump and the Americans, it has made me even more determined than ever.
Yes, more determined than ever. All right, let's jump over here to X and roll through some stories here on this wonderful day. Saturday, March 15th. Democrats caught reading the same script, so they've been replaced with parrots that do it for free. Egg prices are high. Stock market, it will fluctuate. Unelected billionaire. Yeah, they've been exposing the fake White House set. A fake president gets a fake shot from a fake nurse in a fake White House while the fake news claims that everything has been fact-checked and is real. Okay, that feels right. That feels pseudo-accurate, actually. Matt Van Swole reported an anonymous source inside of FEMA confirmed the state of North Carolina has not submitted a single road or bridge to FEMA for funding. Not a single one? That couldn't possibly be true. Here's a non-voting delegate, Stacey Plaskett from the Virgin Islands, attacking Elon Musk for being illegitimate? Amuse is asking, am I the only one who thinks we shouldn't allow observers in Congress? Yeah, working explicitly with President Trump to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. That's very legitimate, lady. And you don't get to vote. What are you even doing there? This is an archive. If you scroll back on X, you can check out this show we did about the attacks being connected, the InfoWars. There was a murder of an InfoWars guy and all the swatting attacks that have been happening. The leftists have been activated to get violent. So act accordingly. Be prepared. We did this show about Elon Musk being targeted, public enemy number one, when they were firebombing his facilities. Did this show about Canada being under new temporary leadership and how soon can Pierre Poilievre take over and fix what's going on up there? Or should the U.S. just partner up, team up, make an agreement and join? I don't know. This one, AOC and Anna Paulina Luna teamed up to go after usury, the usury debt demons. Ooh, don't get me started on usury. Interest, banksters. Ugh. Trying to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. This show about tariffs helping America and Dems shutting down government. And the economic data looks good. This episode about Epstein files being held to protect foreign nations. Asking if Hunter Biden is broke and if Joe didn't sign any of his pardons. Here's our interview with Adam Kokesh you can check out. All right, let's keep scrolling. This guy, Real Hickory, 220,000 followers. I'm not super familiar with him, but he has an interesting name. Spelled wrong, but his name's Mike Engelman. Goes by Real Hickory. He says, good morning, everyone. Imagine my shocked face when I was woken up at 1:30 a.m. by law enforcement standing in front of my home, locked and loaded after a swatting attempt. I'm a nobody living in a sleepy community of 2,800 people. Sleepless night in southern Indiana. Says Sheriff's Department and State Police arrived at my home after 1:30 in the morning, rang my doorbell, startling my wife. Got to the door, saw someone on my front porch, turned the outside lights on, noticed the county sheriff deputies and state police locked and loaded at my front door as I opened it. 911 caller from an 869 area code reported I was holding people hostage at gunpoint. In my house, I'd shot and killed my daughter who was upstairs. The weird thing was, The 911 caller was still on the line with dispatch, providing false information while the cops were talking to me. We don't have an upstairs. My daughter hasn't lived there in 20 years. Once assured everything was fine, I said, this is what they call swatting. Explained it to them. They asked if I had any idea who would do this, and I said no. Oh, they asked. He did inform them that this is happening all over America. I asked them to please find out who it was, and I was assured that they would. It took a bit to calm my wife down. She has a heart condition, but she's good now. Godspeed. I have a great relationship with all local law enforcement in this area, and I know the cops. Needless to say, I didn't sleep at all afterward. Keep wondering who in the world would do this to a small, sleepy community of 2,800. I'm stunned, but I'm not backing down. I'm going to keep pushing. So that's happening across the world. This guy in Odessa, back to Ukraine, activist Ganul was shot dead, member of Zelensky's team. He's been infamous since 2014 and tied to the May 2nd events when dozens of Ukrainians were burned alive in Odessa. Later, he attacked locals laying flowers for the victims. Jeez. Recently, he was fighting anyone who dared criticize mobilization. His most notorious stunt this summer, he beat an Odessa fitness trainer for slamming the Zelensky commissars. The trainer disappeared. Word is he ended up in the AFU, tortured and likely raped. All this while Ganul never fought, just stole donations and ran protection rackets. This is according to Diana Panchenko. It's also alleged that the Trump shooter at the golf course had strong Ukrainian ties, same with the guy at Butler. And the InfoWars reporter that was eliminated was on a Ukrainian hit list for journalists, for MAGA supporters, people that don't want our money laundered through Ukraine in this senseless war that's chewing up and spitting out hundreds of thousands of dead bodies. Oh, wow. What a bad policy position. We want people to not die. So I don't know this guy. That's the post from Diana, but apparently that's an important thing. Babylon B here says federal judge appoints himself president. Federal judge appoints himself president. Elon, seriously, this is essentially what's happening. So, look, they're coming to the fore. These people are. Oh, I guess I got to change the. Can't do side by side. Top and bottom's too small. You could do it that way. Look, people are outing themselves, and that's fine. Once you out yourself, now we know who you are. We know how to handle it. But we got to handle it. So there's a lot on the desk of Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and the entire Trump administration. There are judges that need to be removed. There are activists from the bench. Just, it's time to go. There's a lot of work that needs to happen. Full speed ahead. This is the show yesterday about MAGA delivering a Russia peace deal. So, Putin said he'll accept it, but he's got concerns that this is just going to be a 30-day delay. So Ukraine, who's getting annihilated, is just going to have a chance to reload and reboot and continue the war. He doesn't want to stop just to give them a chance to catch up again and renew hostilities. And he said there's issues that are still not hammered out. They need to hammer the issues out. Just let's touch on this. The Obama doctrine, not liking what this country is made up of. He wanted to flood this country through his puppet, Joe Biden, and Mayorkas, with non-Americans. And they're saying that all population growth, for the first time, just let's listen to population growth talk here.
Look at this headline. I couldn't believe it. I texted around. I was like, this can't be real. This happened in the middle of the Biden administration. This is NBC News this morning. Immigration accounted for all, look at that, all U.S. population growth in 2022 to 23, the first time since 1850. So you had the entirety of the increase of the U.S. population coming from immigration, most of it illegal, rather than live births of U.S. citizens. That's stunning. And this as they're cooking the numbers. Bill Malhusian, though, sent some real numbers, and I love it. He gives all this data. I just have so much fun on my calculator. He just sent out some new data that gotaways are down to about 77 a day. That is down from 1,080. There you go, 1,830. Amazing number. And the numbers you put up, Emily, I did some back of the envelope
96% decrease in illegal alien invasions.
math. If you look at the percentage of criminals that are being arrested, because everyone's like, we don't want to get non-criminals, that's our focus. 73.4% of those arrested have been criminals or those with a criminal charge. More than 1,000 gang members. Think about all the lives saved from fentanyl, all the Lake and Rileys out there whose lives might have been saved because this administration's taking it seriously.
Jeez. Have you seen what an auto pen is? Take a look at this. There might be a way to undo some of the damage Biden has done.
Take a look.
Undo the damage Biden did. Don't do what Donnie Don't does.
Look at he signs by auto pen. Who is signing all this stuff by auto pen? Who would think you sign important documents by auto pen? These are major documents you're signing. You're proud to sign them. You have your signature on something. In 300 years, they say, oh, look, can you imagine? Everything was signed by auto pen, almost everything. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. So should have never happened.
Obama was the first president to use an auto pen for legislation when he extended the Patriot Act in 2011. Here's another guy who got swatted, Joe Pags. It's happening all across America. Stay frosty. Be aware.
So I waited a couple of days because I didn't want to put this out there yesterday and put fuel in the fire, maybe give somebody some oxygen who was trying to get some publicity out of this. But we were swatted 2 nights ago at my house. Now, the good thing is I'm up until about 5 o'clock in the morning. This happened at 2:35 a.m. And we have cameras around the house. Some you can see, some you can't. So if you're a bad guy out there, you're not going to see where they all are. But we have cameras outside the house, and at 2:35 in the morning, I got an indication on my phone that there was some camera or there was some movement, some motion sensor at the front door. And I went, okay, that's weird. Maybe a bug. Who knows? Maybe the dogs had to go out. My wife took the dogs out. Nope. It was a guy holding an AR-15 with a cap on, looking in my window.
That's a fine how do you do.
Now, at that point, you say to yourself, well, I've got a rifle too. Can go grab that and go see what's what. I've got 5 other guns nearby. Grab some of them, go see what's what. And then, end up in a shootout at 2:35 in the morning in the middle of rural Texas. That's something that I don't think that I wanted to do immediately. So what happened was I had this level of calculation in my brain going about a million miles a second. And I said, okay, first thing I need to do, because when it's at night, the cameras are very good. They're color cameras, they're audio cameras, but at night it goes to sort of a night vision view. So I can't tell if it's a police officer or not. I don't know who it is, but he looks a little bit nervous. But believe me, I've got a video of this guy with a rifle at my front door, like holding it, ready to use it. And I called 911. That was the right answer. And I said, this is my address. This is who I am. Radio, television, talk show host. So some would say public figure. I think I'm being swatted. Are you guys at my house? About 2 seconds later, she said, yes, we are. We got a report of this, and this. Dogs were shot. People were bleeding. People were hiding. And none of that was true. None of it true. Not a bit of it. So I said, none of that's happening. Please tell him to stand down. I'll come out with my hands up while I have you on the phone with me, and I'll explain what's going on. She said, okay, I haven't made contact with him yet. Don't go out yet. So then I walk out of my production studio, and I see in my backyard, you got 2 or 3 people with flashlights. So are you in my backyard too? Hold on. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, we're in the backyard. Okay. Give me the go. When he says he's good, when he's got that gun barrel down, I will come out. Waiting. Then she says, I still have the complainant on the line. I said, well, I'm at the address. Okay. So there is no complainant here. There is no distress here. There are no issues here. This is a swatting. If you don't know what that is, They send a tactical team to your house pretending there's an emergency because their hope is to either scare you on the low end, have you come out and confront the police officers and get killed, death by cop, or something else. It's a political message they're sending. They don't like that you're a conservative. They don't like that you're this, that, or the other. And again, I waited 2 days to do this because I think the bad guy probably would have tuned in yesterday to see, am I going to give, some oxygen and some gas to this? And the answer is no. So I waited. But again, this is not me jumping on any bandwagon. I wasn't going to publicize it at all, but all of these big people are. And I think that there's probably more power in putting the information out there. So once I got the okay, I walked out. And it's not one officer, it's not one deputy. It's 7. There are 7 deputies in like with tactical gear. All of them had a long gun, as they should. I'm not against that. I have one too. All of them nervous as hell. I get it. I understand. At 2:30 in the morning on a Tuesday or whatever it was, that's not something that you get a call like that. You're stressed out, and it's in an area of the world where things like this don't go on. So they're ready to go. Thankfully. Once Joe Pag, so one knew that it was me, and we had a conversation. I said, listen, this is what they're doing. They're targeting anybody who's pro-Trump, who's a conservative. It turns out, according to those over on X, it looks like they might be targeting people who have said anything negative about Zelensky and about Ukraine. It looks like that might be what's going on here.
Imagine funding a war for people that are trying to kill your president, kill your media members. Imagine funding the people that hate you. Oh, wait. It's exactly what we went through with Obama.
Because there was some...
The Obama doctrine was to steal your money and give it to all sorts of organizations that hate you. Then use the legal system to try to destroy you. And use violence and threats and intimidation to ruin you and end you, throw you in the ground. These people should never, Democrats have lost the consent of the governed, have no right to ever hold another office anywhere in this country again.
Ukraine non-friend list or something that went out 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and I was on it because I dared say, why is he stopping elections? Why is he stopping free speech? Why is he stopping worship? So that I was now in the doghouse. So
we're pointing out the obvious.
Went out there, it took a while for them to understand that what I was saying was true. Thankfully, they knew who I was as a public figure, a guy that they know on the radio and TV, and I was able to calm everything down. And, we made an agreement. You guys get a call to my house. You've got my cell phone number. You call me. You can't get me, then come. Because, again, this is what they do. It's a scare tactic to shut me up. You've noticed since then I have not shut up, so it's not going to happen. But there's no way somebody's family should be in harm's way. I just want you to think for a second if I would have grabbed my AR-15.
The Breonna Taylor story in Louisville. They bust through the house. The story is that the boyfriend thought it was a drug dealer, an ex-boyfriend. And so 3 a.m, whatever time it was, he went out shooting, and that's when Breonna got shot in the shoot back. Utah, 400-pound guy being a keyboard warrior talking trash about Biden, which, let's face it, Biden is one of the biggest scams ever to be perpetrated on America for 30 different reasons. Instead of waiting for him to go get the mail, just post somebody outside the house as he waddles down to go get his mail. When he gets in his car to go get some fast food, you pin him in and arrest him. Hops out to go to Walmart, you arrest him. No, they waited till 3 a.m. and they busted his door down. What did they do? Let me see what they did in Utah, because I've been referencing it. Utah man killed, posted about Biden. This one that I'm talking about in Utah, instead of just arresting the guy, August 23, Craig D. Lou Robertson shot and killed by FBI agents during a raid on his home in Provo, Utah, hours before Biden was scheduled to arrive in the state for a visit. Robertson posted threatening messages online about Biden, including a statement on social media that he heard Biden was coming to Utah and was planning to dig out a camouflage suit and clean the dust off the M24. Court documents indicate that Robertson, who was armed at the time of the raid, also made threats against other public figures, such as Alvin Bragg and Merrick Garland and Letitia James. I mean, Biden, Garland, Bragg, and James. Yeah, these are four of the worst people that have ever seized control to weaponize their positions against America. FBI was attempting to serve arrest and search warrants when the shooting took place at 6:15 in the morning. Yeah, it was an extreme response to online criticism. Yeah, shooting remains under review. Sure it does. Actually, that's a good post. Let me make a post about that. Hey, at Cash Patel. Where's he at? Oh, not the parody. What's the commentary? Where's his actual? I don't know if that's really him. All right, I'll figure it out later. But this is a problem.
And walked out the front door. Or my pistol. I walked out the front door. I would have been dead in my doorway.
Yeah.
Dead. I mean, think about that.
Because you're seeing something that appears to be a threat. You got multiple people at your house. You have limited time to act. You've been startled out of a slumber. You know. Swatting is an attempted murder, and we need to classify that as domestic terrorism immediately.
That's a tactic of the left? That's the tactic of those who don't like my politics? It's not okay. Not by any means. It's not something I would ever imagine doing. Because I disagree with somebody, I would just disagree with them and try to make them see the light. But that's really something. Had I taken any other action, I might have been killed at my house that night. Yep. And you start to think, maybe that's the tactic. Maybe that's the end goal they have.
It is.
Maybe that's the result they want. I've seen prominent people over on X, Nick Sorter, and I think the guy's name is Gunther Eagleman. I've seen them talk about it. Alex Jones from InfoWars said one of his reporters was swatted the night before, something like that. An InfoWars reporter was actually killed in Austin recently. Now, we don't know that that's connected to this at all. It could be something else. But there's an attack right now. It's a scare tactic and a hope to actually leave people dead, I believe, from the left to the right now. And I'm not saying everybody on the left is doing this, but you need to shut up about Ukraine or else we're going to show up at your house at 2:35 a.m. Good news is, and before I would ever report on this, I've spoken with the Sheriff's Department at length. They have my number. They have my name. We now have a plan in action should they get a call like that again before they dispatch anybody out to my house. Now, others are not involved in this, and if you've got an emergency where I live, near where I live, you're going to have perfect service. They're going to call me first. They're going to make sure that they have the right thing first. They're going to now understand this is a tactic that people are using to try to cause me harm somehow, and sadly, as collateral damage, my family.
Yep.
And that's not okay. So I made the conscious decision to not talk about this right after it happened, to not talk about it yesterday. And now that I see this being publicized more by people over on social media, maybe there's strength in numbers and letting people know we're hip to you. And police agencies now are learning. And to that end, I texted my friend Cash Patel today. The FBI director told him what happened and suggested that possibly the FBI might want to put out some sort of notification that there are people who are under attack because of their thoughts.
Yep.
Okay? So I wanted to put it out there because I wanted to stay ahead of it, but not get so far ahead of it that it gave this person the oxygen and the, the credit. I didn't want them to go, yeah, got him. I didn't want that to happen. Like when I was a television news anchor, when we would get a call from somebody saying there's a bomb threat at whatever school, we wouldn't air that. Because if you aired it and it was just some kid trying to get tomorrow off of school, get a long weekend, then more people are going to do it. You know what I mean? So let me say this to all the bad guys out there. The police are completely hip to what you did. The only person they'll respond to is somebody in my house. They've got all of our names and all of our phone numbers. If you're anybody who's using a VoIP from very far away, which is what happened, they're not going to listen to you when it's my house. They're going to call me first, call my wife, verify what's going on, and then they will either come or not come depending on the situation. So you took your shot, almost quite literally, and you missed. And you should.
If you come with the king, you best not miss.
Feel like the idiot that you are. That's not how you solve problems. How you solve problems is you break it down, you discuss it, you vote, you get people in there that you want. This is not how you do it.
Nope.
It's actually pretty disgusting, to be honest with you. So I wasn't going to talk about that, but I decided, and actually just was out in the hallway. My wife was like, "Yeah, well, why don't you mention it?" Maybe it was time. I wanted to give it a couple of days to cool off, not give them the credit they sought, and also to let them know you can't do it again, because now we've got all sorts of mechanisms in place to make sure that we know what's going on at my house at 2:30 in the morning.
Just madness. You don't hate the left enough. And they brainwash and manipulate their people. They brainwash and manipulate their people through the schools, through their lying legacy media, and these dirty deep state Democrat operatives. The whole toxic system needs to be ripped out by the root. The Obama doctrine has poisoned everything. So we got to do better. Got to do better. Nick Sortor. Here you go. Pam Bondi, what you been doing, Pam Bondi? Well, here you go.
We have people we're locking up on that. We have someone in jail right now from one of the dealerships. They threw a Molotov
Talking about the Tesla dealership, domestic terrorist acts.
cocktail through a dealership. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison. So if you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you.
Wow.
And
Well,
if you're funding this, we're coming after you. We're going to find out who you are.
So
Yeah, who's paying them
people
to
we're
do
locking
this?
up.
They're looking at 20 years in prison. They fought the law, and the law won. Matt Van Swole again, saying Kim Gill. Well, let's just hear this story. This is a nice story. I love this. My heart goes out to everybody in Western North Carolina. I feel really, going out to do that documentary, Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. It's like it locked me in with these people. And just knowing how badly they were abused by FEMA, it just makes me clenched fist,
The Amish.
They called, they asked if there was any carpentry work they could do. They were out here the next couple of days and did everything. Finished it in one day, was fantastic.
It's part of an initiative through the Just for Him Ministries based in Kentucky, inviting up to 30 of these young volunteers at a time to help repair homes.
Now that a lot of the heavy equipment's being passed over to the road crews, we've been needing a lot of construction work done to houses for repairs, total rebuilds, things like that. And these Amish people, they're a blessing to this whole community.
Isaac Guffey has been helping families and working with the group for months and says their work is crucial to helping Bat Cave get back on their feet.
They're just getting it done that fast. When they do a full roof for somebody, I mean, it's done in just a couple of hours. So, I mean, they're great and amazing at what they do.
Both Kim and Isaac say their real hope is that this will encourage others to help too.
The story's kind of weakened, and I feel like that's hindered a little bit of the help coming in because it has slowed down a lot.
We just need to pitch in and help each other. Don't forget your neighbors. Don't forget the people that are out here that are suffering.
And that's why I keep talking about the story. That was Grizzly's big concern when he took us on the tour. A lot of the people there, just like you heard, they're concerned that the hype is going to go away and these people are going to be forgotten. And there's people that just can't afford to be forgotten. So we're going to keep talking about it. End Wokeness put this out. 45 universities are under Department of Justice investigation for anti-white discrimination. Good. Go get them. Wayne Dunlap says, white privilege is a myth for me. Being a white male, I've been the subject of extreme racial discrimination with no family financial backing available. I applied for college financing and was told money was only available for minorities. Being a white male, there was nothing for me. That's just so wrong. We just said disgusting. Look at what the deep state Democrats have been doing to destroy America. Never vote Democrat ever again. Their divisive Obama doctrine has been resoundingly rejected by Americans. Good riddance. In 2022, Elon predicted the left would launch a dirty tricks campaign once he decided to leave the party of division and hate. And now in 2025, death threats. There have been death threats. Tesla stores have been shot up. Superchargers have been firebombed. Tesla attacks on X and conservative X users have been swatted. They proved him right. Elon said, in the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party. But they have become the party of division and hate, so I can no longer support them and will vote Republican. Now watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold. Gunther Eagleman, the gloves are off. First off, my family is safe. My house was just swatted. Some ignorant fuck called in a fake hostage situation. Fortunately, I have good relationships. I don't tolerate threats and will find the culprit. This was their worst mistake. Oh, we don't hate these people enough. Elon said it was easy to predict. This is their standard playbook. Look at what they did to President Trump. He was loved by Democrats until he ran for president. Now they call him Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, etc., and they try to kill him. Hey, take a look at this one. I don't know if here's a rumor being said by Joe S. Pure. Has anyone been paying attention to this whopper? John Podesta, senior advisor to Joe Biden on clean energy, former White House chief of staff to Clinton, counselor to Obama, been handling a $375 billion slush fund. Let me look that up, see if I can get any more. Podesta slush fund. Because Podesta's name has been linked to some of the worst stories you've ever, not even that you've ever heard. It's worse than the stuff you could even imagine. So he was the advisor to the president for clean energy innovation and implementation, appointed by Biden in September 22. Managed the disbursement of approximately $375 billion in clean energy. Authorized by the Inflation Reduction, oh my God, the Inflation Causal Act of 22. New York Post outlets and other outlets in early March 25 claimed that under Podesta's oversight, at least $20 billion of this funding was allocated to newly formed environmental nonprofits, some of which lacked IRS charity database listings or federal filings. For instance, the Climate United Fund. See, there you go. Climate United Fund. That's the manatees right there. Incorporated in Delaware of November 23, received $7 billion a few months later in April, handed over by then VP Harris. New EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin and other critics have labeled this as a slush fund, alleging it was rushed out with minimal oversight before the Biden administration ended, possibly as a safeguard against a change in political control, suggesting potential misuse of money, funneled to politically aligned groups. Power forward communities. There's your 3 letters, your manatee. Power forward communities linked to Stacey Abrams. $2 billion beside minimal prior revenue. Investigations by DOJ, FBI, and EPA's Inspector General are underway, and accounts holding these funds have been frozen in early 25. So that's what's being referenced here. But our comment was, you should also check his hard drives. Anthony Weiner, Huma Abedin, Hillary Clinton. People might be frazzled if they took a look at his hard drives. Matt Van Swol, once again, talking about a Tesla takedown protest.
For sure, there's been vandalism at Tesla dealerships. I've seen it on the news. I want to make it really clear that I don't, and the Tesla takedown movement, troublemakers, none of us have ever supported violence or called for violence. We do not believe in that as a strategy of nonviolent resistance. I think the vandalism really shows.
Interesting how she's looking up and and over, like really searching for the words. I'm not saying she's lying, but like Matt says here, the protest founder says she doesn't support violence, but
of nonviolent resistance. I think the vandalism really shows the
now she's looking down,
the outright anger and rage that people are feeling about what Elon Musk is doing right now in our government.
Rage at stopping waste, fraud, and abuse. Yeah. Here's a question. Why was it a crime for Nixon to wiretap Democrats at Watergate, but okay for Obama to wiretap Republicans at Trump Tower? I'm still waiting for the charges. You're not allowed to do what Obama did. He felt completely invincible. And that was an issue that we just discussed on yesterday's episode of the TNAM AM Show. Here's Carrie Lake. Some say she was wrongfully that she should have won these last two elections, but extreme shadiness in Arizona has kept her out of office. So now she's involved with the U.S. Agency for Global Media. Wait, where's she at? Carrie Lake, hang on. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. Carrie Lake position is Special Ambassador to the United States Agency for Global Media. Yes, Agency for Global Media. Okay, here's her in her own words, what she found out.
Hi, America. I'm here in Washington, D.C. as Senior Advisor at United States Agency for Global Media.
By the way, I love that we're getting regular updates from Pete Hegseth, from RFK Jr., from Carrie Lake, daily updates from President Trump. This is what an accountable government looks like. Everything Biden did was in the shadows, auto pen. He didn't know where he was at. He didn't know what was in his oatmeal. He didn't know what time to change his Depends and what medications to take. It was a complete sham foisted upon the American people. We had a shadow government running the Obama administration for 4 years. So I'm so happy to see all these people front and center talking about the stuff that they're doing. It's so refreshing, so different.
I'm working on behalf of you and President Trump and his administration, and I have been on the job for a couple of weeks now, and I'm horrified by some of the things I'm learning about this agency. I'm sitting here on the 13th floor of a shiny, brand new, beautiful skyscraper building that is costing you, the taxpayer, a fortune. The Biden administration folks who were running this agency before, right before they left office, signed a brand new lease for this building, a 15-year lease that's going to cost the taxpayer nearly $250 million. Here's the kicker. They already have a building that they're located in that is paid off, that they could have renovated or updated, but they chose instead to get us into a lease that's costing the taxpayer a fortune. I know that every one of you out there is working hard and parting with your tax dollars. You're expecting it to be used wisely, not misused and mismanaged. And I can tell you that this building is a colossal waste of money. Take a look at what's in this building. Fancy conference rooms.
And by the way, it's a nice looking building. But what you do is you buy the building with the resources, and you don't rent, you don't pay interest, you pay it off and you move along. That's how you stay out of debt. You don't lease stuff, especially when you own stuff. If you already own a car outright, why are you leasing another car? You want to sell your other car and buy a car? Fine. But you're going to waste all those thousands of dollars on financing, interest, usury? That's how they get you. These debt demons. I don't care if they were to buy this building. But you buy it, you pay it off, and you maintain it. You don't have another, like, what are we doing?
With wall-to-wall windows. There's 26 conference rooms, at least. That's what I've counted in this building. There are 4 bridges to nowhere, massive waterfalls.
Bridges to nowhere. Just for aesthetics?
Italian marble finishes everywhere. Leather furnishings, all of
No, that's not leather.
This being paid for by the American taxpayer. And it's not the only thing we've seen. We are seeing grants where they've taken the grants and they've changed the contracts just days before we got in here to make it less transparent for us to find out where the money's going and what's happening with these
Money laundering.
grantees. It was an obvious sign that they wanted to keep us from finding out anything that we could possibly go in and change and make better for the American taxpayer. I want you to know I'm hard at work here in Washington, D.C.
I want you to know I'm hard at work.
I'm working to make sure that we are.
That actually sounded worse when I paused it in between. It sounded way worse. Now I'm at work. Anyway.
Are not being bilked out of our hard-earned dollars. And we're going to make sure we're doing everything we can to cancel contracts that can be canceled, save money, downsize, and make sure there's no misuse of your dollars.
All right, there you go. Good to see it. We're asking if this is being reported accurately. Here, let's see what the Epic City project is. Epic City project. It's being reported, Epic City, Texas, master plan community initiated by the East Plano Islamic Center, EPIC, EPIC, 40 minutes from Dallas. To create a residential community centered around Muslim residents. 1,000 homes, a mosque, a K-12 faith-based school, community college, commercial space. Oh, Imam Chaudhry. Oh, I remember that name. Executive officer. 2 additional developments, Epic Ranches 1 and 2. Interest and controversy, 500 lots reserved shortly after launch, but it's faced opposition from Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who in February voiced concerns on social media about it potentially being a Sharia law area with no-go zones. Critics echoed these worries while developers insist it complies with U.S. laws, including fair housing, and isn't meant to isolate the community. It remains in the planning phase, with property values in the area reportedly rising. Okay. Amy is saying, yeah, the radical Islamic school already operated under Epic Mosque in Plano. It's an expansion of Sharia-controlled society. It's not education, it's indoctrination. Full-time Quran memorization, not general education. At the Darul Quran full-time Hifz school. Strict Sharia compliance enforced, gender segregation, Islamic dress codes, obedience to Islamic law, Palestinian nationalism over American identity, classrooms chant from the river to the sea, students dressed in Palestinian clothing, in the school setting mirrors, the school setting mirrors Gaza, not Texas. Epic openly admits its goal is to have non-Muslims attend, where they will be required to follow Islamic dress codes. Their plan: all females living in Epic City will wear the Sharia hijabs. Epic City, not just a housing development, it's a fortress built around Sharia. No city or state oversight. Epic controls education, law, and governance. No American curriculum, only Islamic indoctrination. No municipal jurisdiction, only Sharia rule. This is the blueprint for a parallel Islamic society, one that operates outside American governance under very strict Sharia, much like inside their mosque. Why does this matter? According to this post from Amy Meck, this is not just a school, not just a neighborhood, it's the expansion of Sharia supremacy in America. Governor Abbott claims Sharia is not allowed in Texas, but it's already here, growing and unchallenged. Epic leaders are already building out Epic 2.0. They boast of an Epic 3.0 and 4.0 coming soon. Texas is their blueprint. How long before Epic City is just one of many self-governing Sharia enclaves across the United States? 402-acre Sharia city being built in Texas, and you're helping fund it. All right. Keep your eyes peeled on the Epic community. Is that what you want? Is that going to be great for the country? You discuss. This conversation drew a little bit of ire from people that don't seem to understand that the Democrat deep state lying divisive media has been engaged in, well, let's just call it what it is. They have been the vocal arm of the Democrat Party.
And I believe that CNN and MSDNC, who literally write 97.6% bad about me, are political arms of the Democrat Party. And in my opinion, they're really corrupt and they're illegal. What they do is illegal. It makes no difference how big a victory I had. I can have the biggest victory in history. It makes no difference what kind of a failure the other side has. And I believe that CNN
And look, if they're operating as a wing of the Democrat Party and pretending they're not, that's a problem. This is President Trump arriving at the Department of Justice, the same department who desperately tried to lock him up in prison for the rest of his life. What a freaking comeback. Can't have the music. I don't know. I don't like the way Pam Bondi's sashaying out there. Looks like she's on a runway. I don't know. I wish Pam Bondi would spend a little bit less time. Oh, what's he say here? I had to mute it.
Oh, wow. He looks like such a nice person.
Wow. That looks like such a nice person.
It's a rough picture. It's a rough picture.
That is a rough picture.
That's good. That's good. Thank you.
That is interesting, though. Clandestine saying, for everyone complaining about Pam Bondi, and I am one of those people, the Epstein list, etc., you need to listen to Trump here. Just listen to Trump before we get too upset about Bondi. Let's listen.
You're the people that are doing it. Very, very proud of all of you. Under the Trump administration, the DOJ and the FBI will once again become the premier crime-fighting agencies on the face of the earth. People ask me, what am I going to do about law enforcement all the time? The fake news back there, they're asking me that all the time. What am I going to do? And when are you going to do it? And I answer them by saying I've already done most of it by appointing the people that I've appointed. They're sitting right here. They've done most of it. I don't do it, they do it. Right, Pam? I think, oh, you are so tough, they just don't know yet. Let me begin by congratulating the incredible people who...
Trump says he's already done it. It's in the hands of his appointees, and Pam Bondi is so tough, they just don't know it yet. Trump trusts Bondi. All right, then prove it. Then prove it. What's up, Bella's Chance? What does Bella's Chance mean? Is that the cat in the picture? Is Bella the cat? What does Bella's Chance stand for? Pam can bond me. Pam Blondie. Bella's Chance is saying, in my opinion, Sharia and everything. Everyone associated with it will never assimilate in our country and don't belong here. America is supposed to be a place to assimilate, not to build enclaves where you get people like the Squad jumping into Congress because they take over a district, and you'll have constant voting for Ilhan Omar, who married her brother, allegedly, governing the country of the United States. She talks like that and always sides on the wrong side of all of the common sense things. Ilhan Omar? Ilhan Omar? You build an enclave to be your own separate, segregated city. That is not assimilation at all. I mean, you can go to major cities. You got Chinatown, you got Koreatown, you got, I signed loan documents in Little Ethiopia in Los Angeles. You know, there's areas where people gather. It's different from building a separate, segregated city, because a lot of people will complain or rightly point out, depending on your perspective, that Islam, it presents itself as a religion, but it's really a political ideology. It's about governance. It's about rule. It's not about going to church on Sunday and, you know, whatever, then you're back in your community. It's about everything is centered on it. So, yeah, I mean, Bella's chance. I'm for assimilation. I am against enclaves. How did Ilhan Omar get elected? How did some of these people in the squad? Oh, no, enclaves are bad. No-go zones are bad. Look at the UK. That's a huge warning. David Ban is saying she's special. Are you saying Ilhan Omar is special or Pam Bondi is special? And when you say special, do you mean short bus special or she is special? We're going to find out pretty soon. Curious on that one. So here it is, Thomas Massey. Well, this is, he says the lowdown on this continuing resolution, it's a fake fight here in the House that will become obvious when the Senate Democrats vote for this stinker. He said that 4 days ago. 62 to 32 in the Senate. 62 to 38. As I predicted 3 days ago, Senate Democrats carried this across the finish line because it's basically a continuation of the Schumer, Biden, Johnson 2024 omnibus. Shame on Speaker Johnson for not reducing the number in that budget. Shame on him. I stand with Massey. They could have done a budget that would have reduced things. Just throw us a bone, reduce it by 5%. Even if you can't go further, because we need further. It's not that we have an income problem, we have a spending problem. And anyway. Okay, here is Mark Andreessen breaking down how the university scam works and how they misappropriate our taxpayer money.
The universities are funded by four primary sources of federal funding. The big one is the federal student loan program, which is, in the many trillions of dollars at this point, and only spiraling, way faster than inflation.
And they just keep raising the cost of education. They keep pushing radical Marxist indoctrination. They keep pushing for it. Here, bud. You coming up? Over here. Right here. Nimbus is trying to get up. Trying to give him some scritches. He doesn't have the same mobility he used to. So sometimes he can't scratch the right spot. But they just keep raising the prices, paying all their Marxist professors. Come on, bud. Can you not make the leap? Yeah, right. Let me get you. It is a scam, and the Democrats are pushing it, and then they're pushing all of their indoctrination on the kids at our expense.
That's number one. Number two is federal research funding, which is also very large. And you probably know that when a scientist at a university gets a research grant, the university rakes as much as 70% of the money for central uses.
Yeah.
Number three is tax exemption at the operating level, which is based on the idea that these are nonprofit institutions as opposed to, let's say, political institutions. And then number four is tax exemptions at the endowment level, which is the financial buffer that these places have. Anybody who's been close to a university budget will basically see that what would happen if you withdrew those sources of federal taxpayer money, and then for the state schools, the state money, they'll instantly go bankrupt. And then you could rebuild. Because the problem right now, like the folks at University of Austin are like mounting a very valiant effort, and I hope that they succeed, and I'm cheering for them. But the problem is you're now inserting. Suppose you and I want to start a new university, and we want to hire all the free thinking professors, and we want to have the place that fixes all this. Practically speaking, we can't do it because we can't get access to that money. I'll give you the most direct reason we can't get access to that money. We can't get access to federal student funding. Do you know how universities are accredited for the purpose of getting access to federal student funding, federal student loans? They're accredited by the government, but not directly, indirectly. They're not accredited by the Department of Education. Instead, what happens is the Department of Education accredits accreditation bureaus that are nonprofits that do the accreditation. Guess what the composition of the accreditation bureaus is? The existing universities. they're in complete control. The incumbents are in complete control as to who gets as to who gets access to federal student loan money. Guess how enthusiastic they are about accrediting a new university?
They are not.
Right. And so we have a government funded and supported.
They're as excited for having competition as they're about as excited for competition as the lying legacy media working with Google is to remove independent media like the New American Media from getting the advertising clicks and the AdSense revenue. So they block you. That's what they do. That's their game. They can't win with ideas, so they use dirty tricks to kneecap you. They can't win with ideas, so they SWAT you. They firebomb your buildings. That's what happens. These people are terrible.
Supported cartel.
These organizations are terrible.
That has gone, I mean, it's just obvious now. It's just gone like sideways in basically any possible way it could go sideways, including, I mean, literally, as you know, students getting beaten up on campus for being, the wrong religion. I mean, it's just they're just wrong in every possible way at this point. And they're it's all in the federal taxpayer back. And there is no way. I mean, my opinion, there is no way to fix these things without replacing them. And there's no way to replace them without letting them fail. And by the way, it's like everything else in life. I mean, in a sense, this is like the most obvious conclusion of all time, which is what happens in the business world when a company does a bad job is they go bankrupt and another company takes its place, right? And that's how you get progress. And of course, below that is what happens is this is the process of evolution, right? Why does anything ever get better? It's because things are tested and tried, and then the things that are good survive. And so
the cream rises to the top, unless the government puts their fingers on the scale and influences the outcome.
These places have cut themselves off. They've been allowed to cut themselves off from evolution at the institutional level and evolution at the individual level, as shown by the just widespread abuse of tenure. And so we've just stalled out. We built an ossified system, an ossified, centralized, corrupt system. We're surprised by the results. They are not fixable in their current form.
And that's why disabling the Department of Education is a big step forward, because it's such a mess. It is such a mess in our education system. That's why it's cranking out these angry leftists who hate themselves and hate our country and hate everything, because they've been manipulated by these abusive teachers who've been running this propaganda machine on them. So yeah, university scam. I mean, I could do 10 hours on the university problems. This was really cool. This is a light display. You can check it out. It's 6 minutes, 40 seconds. So it's what? It's drummer, I like it. I don't want to get copyright here. But these are what? These are vehicles. So these are being made with Teslas, it looks like. Kind of neat, kind of interesting. Okay, so here's, if you want to get into the conversation, can the First Amendment save Mahmoud Khalil? We're weighing constitutional principles against the oft-fabricated drama of Mahmoud Khalil's deportation. American precedent favors the president, but why isn't legacy media telling the whole story? If you want to tear through that and take a look, please do. Here's a link to some of our shows as well on our X feed. Picture that wins the internet for the day. President Trump with Elon's kid. I mean, the kid has joy. The president has a little bit of patience. That is a happy picture. So the NGO scam is summarized here.
Is where the sort of grassroots Democrats are on this, right? If you look in the same way
This is Natalie Winters on War Room, Real America's Voice.
that our audience knows just how we hound our senators, our representatives, you're seeing the same exact thing go down now with the Democrat grassroots. For example, right, these groups that were organizing those town halls to oppose Doge, groups like Indivisible, they have shepherded all their resources, they have rallied the troops, and they are descending not just upon Washington, but into these districts to really go, or I guess these states, to
Musk or us?
to go after these senators to make sure that they hold the line and basically force Trump into a shutdown. That is sort of the line, the angle of attack that they're taking. I want to put the pictures up on screen for you, Steve, though. Groups like Indivisible, particularly the shutdown, they're framing it through the lens of Musk or us. And they are now offering, they are reimbursing protesters, whether it's at town halls or wherever it may be, hundreds of dollars for daring to come out and criticize the Trump administration and just basically support these senators who are not going to potentially join that, gang of 8 and help avert a government shutdown. So
Got to find where all the funding's coming from. Michael O'Keefe saying, it breaks my heart to say it, but this is Ireland. We are in serious trouble. I mean, this is Ireland, and there's your mosque. The Obama Doctrine goal was to invade Ireland with the non-Irish to take over that country. That is the plan that Obama's been following. There you have it. Chuck Schumer admitting that they sent President Trump up during past negotiations about government shutdown.
Set him up instinctively. We didn't plan this. Everyone thought we planned it out. It was about the government shutdown the first time. And Nancy said something to him about he didn't understand about women. So, what?
Chuck was masterful.
Well,
he was masterful.
She set him up so I could go in for the kill.
No, but he was masterful. He's talking to him about the government shutdown and about immigrants and the rest. And he says, "I'll take ownership of the shutdown."
I said, "So, Mr. President, will you own the shutdown?" "Yes, I will." And that was, oh, thank you very much. We sort of set him up.
Yeah, you set him up. Shocking. This is allegedly video of an ISIS leader getting taken out by our troops. No sound, no additional context. Yeah, our Scott Adams talking about Bill Burr here saying, you need to be a complete moron to believe that Elon Musk gave a Hitler salute. And then we replied, something happened to Bill Burr. Same with Jimmy Kimmel. Are they being threatened? Are they being bribed? Are they being blackmailed? Here's Scott Bessent, the Secretary Treasury, explaining what is happening here with Doge.
Sarah, what I like to emphasize, I emphasized it yesterday to the business leaders. I want to emphasize it to your viewers. Let's remember the E in Doge is efficiency. It's not elimination. It's not extinction. We are trying to make the government do better for the American people and right-size it. And I don't think that there is anyone who is happy with the bundle of services that they get from the federal government. No. So you're sitting in Singapore. I met with some leaders from Singapore yesterday, and Singaporeans love their government. They think that it does good things for them, and they spend about 18% of GDP on their government. If we were to balance the budget, we'd be at 18% of GDP. So why can't we have the government do a better job for the American people at a better price? Sarah,
better job for the people at a better price. Bella's Chance, thanks for answering that question. You said Bella was a lonely, only kitten. Lonely, only. Sounds like a song from the 50s. Lonely, only. Bella was a lonely, only kitten, so I found a funny, adorable tuxedo, and we took a chance. Awesome. I'm a cat rescuer myself. And David is saying, I hope we find out how special and tough Pam Bondi is. Okay, so do I. So do I. Because I'm not super inspired at the moment. Gunther Eagleman here says Hakeem Jeffries is snapping at reporters. AOC is calling out Schumer. Nobody knows what's going on in the Democratic Party, but it's fun to watch.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate? Next question.
Have you lost confidence in him? The fact that you guys see this so differently?
Next question.
Mr. Leader, why were you afraid to say anything about Schumer when you were asked?
No, not characterize.
No, my question was, why are you afraid to say anything?
Not characterize my remarks. I'm not afraid about anything. Anything.
You went to another question.
Anything.
And now there's talk of AOC running a primary challenge against Schumer.
I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party. It is a huge slap in the face.
Joining me now, Alex Marlow, Breitbart editor-in-chief, and Lisa Booth, Fox News contributor. Alex, okay, first of all, do you agree? Isn't it refreshing to have the Democrats and doing all the infighting? Because it really usually is the Republicans who drive us crazy because they never can stick together. But now, looks like the far left ain't too happy.
No, and it's even better than that, Laura, because
because it cuts off there. Charlie Kirk here is reporting that a Democrat Maryland mayor has been arrested on more than 50 counts of child porn. Maryland mayor. Let's see what that one is. Well, here, let's play the Charlie clip. Yeah, let's just get the intro to it.
Democrat mayor in Maryland arrested on 56 child pornography related charges. The mayor of College Park, Maryland, Patrick Wojahn, was arrested Thursday on 56 child pornography possession and distribution charges. He's a gay activist, 47-year-old gay activist, Democrat, faces 40 counts of possession. It's hard to even read this, I'll be honest. It's so disgusting.
Also, okay, the obvious point is, yes, if somebody is engaged in this, it's abhorrent, and that's not good. It's the worst. Additionally, what would be easier to plant on somebody? Oh, we seized his computers, and guess what we found there? Oh, did you find it there? Did you? Look what was found. Oh, it was found by you? Who could have put it there? Okay. So, anytime I hear this, I'm like, oh, go get him. And then I'm like, But when the math checks out, you're like, yeah, it sounds like the type of person that would have.
It's vomit-inducing, but it's real. So if you don't have the stomach for this, then...
Okay, I don't want to listen to it. Rand Paul said he just tried to push President's Doge foreign aid cuts into law. Yeah, by the way, you're not going to find somebody more against child abuse than this guy right here. I'm just pointing out, I'm not team this or team that, not to be a contrarian. It's just, I always have questions. Now, if he was posting things like he had an account on X, I guess a lot of people were posting stuff on X. The story was Elon didn't buy a social media company. He bought a crime scene that it was so bad. So I don't know. But yeah, go after the abusers as strongly as you can. 27 Republicans voted to cut foreign aid, but 26 Republicans and all Democrats voted to keep funding foreign aid at Biden levels. What a disappointment. That's a damn shame. Ron Paul shared how Representative Massey explains how Republicans are continually delaying the government cost cutting. Well, you can check it out. You get what we're getting at. Trump's Deputy National Security Advisor, KT McFarland. Okay, I haven't heard a lot from her. Let's hear from her.
Now have black and white evidence that the FBI interfered in the 2016 election. And then when they...
Oh, yeah, and the 2020. You want to go back further?
They failed to get their candidate elected, Hillary Clinton. Then they set out to destroy the Trump administration. So then go up to 2020. It was the CIA this time that got involved in the 2020 election with those 51 former intel agents who talked about the Hunter Biden laptop as total Russian disinformation. So they've gotten away with it for 2 elections. They're for sure going to get away with it, try to get away with it in 24, right? Because there's no consequence. The difference is in 2024, the evidence is there. We now have the Durham investigation. We have all the congressional investigations. There is now hard evidence that there was election interference by the U.S. intelligence agencies and the Department of Justice. They've got to be terrified, those individuals have to be terrified that a Republican president comes in the 2024 election with a Republican attorney general, investigates them and charges them all with the crimes they've committed over the last 8 years.
Yes.
Well,
yes, that's the only way we're going to get this stuff resolved. They all need to be perp walked for what they've done. They think they're invincible. They think they can just abuse us, the normal segment of society that just wants to be left alone. Nothing radical or extreme. We just want to be left alone. And these people will never leave us alone, these deep state Democrats. Yeah, the FBI attempted the overthrow of the United States government on behalf of Hillary Clinton in 2016.
We'll see about that. You're right. There are questions around these elections because of this interference. Do you think there will be election interference then in 24?
Take it to the bank. They will absolutely interfere in 2024. We're not sure how, but they will absolutely interfere.
Okay, this is an old interview then. But still, let's go Cash. Let's go Pam.
Not only because they're not going to like whoever the Republican candidate is, but because
whoever that, man, this is really old.
Because they're going to protect their own hides. That's why they were talking to their own people, and the whistleblowers have brought this up, that they were told, don't put anything on paper, just tell us orally. They knew that they were doing stuff wrong. They knew that they were going to be liable for prosecution.
Of course they knew. But they, Real Robert was sharing this to remember what KT McFarland was saying prior to, Trump getting the nomination, then winning. She's the Deputy National Security Advisor. All right, so go get him. Charlie Kirk posting this about the auto pen. Joe Biden had no idea what the hell he was doing. Disrespectful to the office. Maybe it's not even valid. Alex talking about the swatting problem.
Sean Farish, I think probably the best Trump impersonator, really funny comedian, just announced in the early morning hours, it's on X, that he and his wife got swatted last night in Tennessee. For those that have been hiding under a rock, don't know what that is in the last 20 years. It's really accelerated on the Democrat Party terror campaign with the Ukrainians, not totally linked to them. It's people calling the police and saying you're killing your wife or killing your family, trying to get you killed. So it's an attempt at murder. It's classical terrorism. It's almost always carried out by Democrats and leftists throughout the years. And people have gotten killed many times by it. People have been sent to prison over it. So, not just him, dozens, over 15 people overnight got swatted. A lot of them have already put the videos up. It all started with my reporter, Chase Geiser, 2 days after our reporter, Jamie White, got executed. Most of these people, including other Texas talk show hosts who announced he got swatted a few days ago as well, are on the Ukrainian enemies list. So this is terrorism, and it's just all part of the burning up the Tesla dealerships and all the rest of it. A couple people have been charged with domestic terrorism, now have been arrested for firebombing facilities that Trump promised they would. So it's all out of control. It's just the beginning.
And it is just the beginning. So stay alert. Wall Street Ape says, the American people have had enough when an AI video of Senator Elizabeth Warren running from the FBI with bags of cash gets over 45,000 likes. Make it 156,000. We're sick of politicians getting filthy rich, doing insider trading, laundering our money to NGOs, and selling us out. Man, I want to see these people perp walked so bad. Cheryl Atkinson interviewing President Trump. Cheryl Atkinson, one of the good reporters. Oh, good. This is a skit. The original video comes from an account that does skits. The participants have been in other skits on that page. That's what we said. This is a skit, right? It's this one about allegedly a teacher yelling at a parent. Okay, it felt like a skit. I guess I should rate it. Yes. Easy to understand, and it's important context. Okay. Imagine, Elon says this is the European Union in a nutshell. Imagine you love so much being governed that you want a government for your government. That's the European Union. Bongino does his last show, and then he's going to check in. He's going to go work with Cash. I'll see you all on the other side. Clandestine here says that Putin is speaking. First off, Trump is actually preventing World War III. Putin speaks on restoring Russian-American relations and says that Trump is doing everything possible to reverse the damage caused by the Biden administration. Putin confirms he had a phone call with Trump and is willing to spare the lives of the surrounded Ukrainian soldiers in the Kursk region if they surrender, but they committed crimes against civilians and will be prosecuted as terrorists. Oh. Overall, what you should take from this is that Trump is holding true to his word as the peacemaker and is taking significant steps toward not just ending this conflict, but towards normalizing relations with Russia and permanently ending this Cold War we're in with Russia before it escalates into a full-scale World War III. Trump's diplomacy is saving the world. This one right here, Dr. Malouf says hundreds of military-aged men arrive on the shores of Spain and Italy every day. These are not refugees. These are invaders. How's that? What a nice invasion of your country. You don't have to let people in. No. Who are you? What's your purpose here? Let's see your identification. Let's run some background checks. That's how you go in the right way. This is how you go in the wrong way. This is an invasion, and I think Obama's up to something. I think that the globalists are up to something. I think they have been up to something for a very long time, and it's okay to resist this. It's okay to say this is not normal in Spain or Italy or Ireland or the United States or Canada, anywhere. This is not okay. This is deeply concerning. Charlie Kirk here.
In 1964,
talking to the crowd in Knoxville, Tennessee. The next generation is all MAGA. Hey, if that's the pushback to 20, 30 years of wacky liberal deep state indoctrination, all right. Reap what you sow, reap the whirlwind. And wokeness reminding us 8 months later, we still know nothing about the guy who nearly took out Trump. Why? Where is the report? What is the full story? What do you know? I don't know how to sum up who funded him, where he came from, why his apartment was empty, who he was on the phone with. Where's the report? Where's the story on any of this? Ian Jaeger posting a list of the 26 Republicans who voted against codifying Doge foreign aid spending cuts into law. Lindsey Graham. Murkowski, of course. Oh, Scott Thune. Grassley. Collins. Cassidy. So just wonder, are these people that need to be primaried and replaced by MAGA members next time? Storm chasing guy posting wreckage on I-27 in Canyon, Texas. Yeah, there's some weather systems moving through the country, so please be aware of what's going on. Yeah, I woke up super early to hail and snow. It was 70 degrees, and it was ice and snow and hail. I don't know what's going on with this damn weather. Here's Anna Navarro going on a heated rant about Trump, and Kevin O'Leary responding.
Was suspended in the United States of America. Right. And it is not great to shrug your shoulders while the president of the United States uses every asset he has and every force he has to penalize people. Do you understand the level of pain?
Are you talking about Biden?
No, I'm talking about Donald J.
No, I was confused.
The right to counsel.
Yeah, because that's what Biden did. Penalizing people, attacking. Okay, check this out. Is this the first? Is this the first thing we needed to hear from Bondi? All right, here we go, people. Are we excited?
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them.
There you go. Charges against Hochul and James. Good. That's the beginning. And we said all we ever had to do was start indicting the traitors. All it took was the right president. Do you see this? Trump's giving us he's answering questions from reporters, and then this happens.
Mr. President, obviously you're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight, right? Yes, sir. Did you see that?
If you missed it, she hits him in the mouth with her microphone.
Gaza, Mr. President, obviously you're concerned.
You just became a big story tonight. Might have been an accident. Brian Cates says, okay, I've seen numerous press scrums gathered around newsmakers over the years. Trump does a lot of these impromptu off-the-cuff sessions with the press. There's nothing marked off or any podium. It's just him standing there with the reporters less than 2 feet away. This was probably about 15 to 25 people all standing very close together, and there isn't much room to move. I'd say she lost her balance or tried to move one of her feet and ended up stepping on someone else's foot and losing her balance. But there's another post that I made. Yeah, I don't know. The Trump microphone video is pretty hilarious. Just busting him in the face. Sorry we had to share that with you, but that's what we thought of. But there is another post that we shared. It said all it would take is a microscopic amount of ricin or fentanyl. You could have that on a microphone. If you could get close enough to touch Trump's mouth, you could end him. So we need to rethink how close we're getting in these situations. Yes, it's a goofy little maybe nothing burger, but maybe we should be a little bit more aware. Here's Kash Patel talking about some of the progress they've made in just a couple weeks.
In just 2 short weeks, we have arrested over 300 violent felonies, gang members, including MS-13 and 18 gangsters. We have taken seizure of hundreds of pounds of narcotics and hundreds of weapons and currency and illicit goods. That's just what you can do when you put the brave men and women of law enforcement in one room and get the hell out of their way. And we are going to do that in every state across this country. In Massachusetts alone, in the last couple of weeks, they have indicted federally over 50 violent gang members and narco traffickers, seizing almost 200 kilograms of fentanyl. There is no time for us to waste on this job, and that's why under President Trump's leadership and General Bondi's leadership, we've been instructed to get after it, and that's exactly what we are doing. We have to especially get after it when we lose an American citizen every 7 minutes to a drug overdose. We have to especially get after it when a man or child a woman or child is raped in this country nearly every 6 minutes. And we have to especially get after it when there are 2 homicides nearly every hour in this country. Violent crime is exploding, and it is a direct result of the border invasion that occurred. But thanks to this administration and thanks to your relentless work on the field of battle to protect our citizenry, we are finally curbing those astronomical numbers. And what that means is we are saving American lives. We are providing our children with safe schools and playgrounds so that they can be educated and grow up in a fun neighborhood like we all had the privilege of doing in this great community.
Yeah. Remember nice neighborhoods? Yeah, the media coverage against Trump might be illegal. It might actually be. They're highly paid political operatives, and it has to stop. It has to be illegal. It's influencing judges, and it's changing law, and it can't be legal. They're in coordination with each other. They take each other's marching orders. Breaking. ICE has arrested another pro-Hamas rioter from Columbia University, according to Nick Sortor, for immigration violations. Secretary Kristi Noem has announced. Good, send them all back. The rioter, Lekwa Kordaya, is being deported back to Palestine a year after being arrested by NYPD for participating in the Columbia riots, but was released. She already had her visa revoked twice for failing to attend classes, but Biden let her stay anyway? If you're here on a student visa and you're not going to school, like, what do you... Okay. That doesn't sound legit to me in any way. It's a privilege to be granted a visa to live and study in the United States of America. And when you advocate for violence and terrorism, that privilege should be revoked, and you should not be in this country, Kristi Noem said in a statement. Well, there you go. There's a video. Never forget this guy standing up to Fauci right to his face. Wish more people were like this. Oh, fine. I'll play a second of this.
People in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in?
Oh, I hate this guy so much.
In this approach, about 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allow thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this.
Oh, that lady. Oh, God. Yeah, they're not responsible for creating it and unleashing it. He's responsible for not consuming their... Oh, we don't hate these people enough.
Country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not like
much more serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually, too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on with
something
that.
else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Yeah. Joe Biden once said no one's going to build another coal plant in America, but yesterday the Trump administration approved the expansion of one of the nation's biggest coal mines. Daniel Turner says, I'm not tired of winning. While he was vice president, says Rod Martin, Joe Biden used private email for classified info. New docs reveal a massive security breach. Check out the thread. Oh my gosh. Hillary, Obama, Biden, they've all been using. You're not allowed to when you're in these positions, but they did. They're private servers. Can we please get some indictments already? The comment about that microphone clip, just shoving a microphone in his mouth, just reminded me of that meme. I've seen that hot dog meme 1,000 times, and it still cracks me up. Imagine filming this 20 years ago, and it's one of the funniest memes of all time. Anyway, Friend Lee here says the microphone is set to be deported. That was just kind of funny. Had to giggle at that. Mario Nafal Elon is saying, reported by Nafal, Democrats are using taxpayer funds to import illegal immigrants to shift elections. This is called the Obama Doctrine. Elon exposed the real reason Democrats defend entitlement fraud, where they use federal funds to attract illegal alien invaders and then reshape the electorate. Under Biden, at least $30 billion has been funneled into migrant support, with 9 million illegal arrivals and 400,000 children born to illegal alien invaders in 2024 alone. Democrats call it equity, but Elon calls it what it is: voter engineering. Meanwhile, Wall Street profits and wages shrink and taxpayers foot the bill. Benny Johnson reporting that Ashley Biden's nonprofit is facing an IRS complaint after failing to publicly disclose $250,000 donation from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Oh, Ashley Biden from the Shower Diaries. Ian Jager reporting, General Flynn has said that the USPS should never be involved in our elections again. I don't want the USPS involved in our elections. Delivering boxes and ballots. No thanks. You vote in person, show your ID. No more mail-in. No. And by the way, the U.S. Postal Service, let me make sure I have this right. USPS endorsed a presidential candidate. Federal agency engaged. The confusion arises. Oh, there it was. Come on. That's what I meant. The U.S. Postal Workers Union, such as the National Association of Letter Carriers and the American Postal Workers Union, endorsed candidates in the past. There you go. NALC endorsed Joe Biden. APW also endorsed Biden in 2024. NALC endorsed Kamala. And these people are supposed to be delivering boxes of ballots? No, I'm good. You're not neutral. You're not neutral. You have a vested interest. No more. Yes, we do want AG Pam Bondi to designate swatting as an attempted murder. Yes, we do. 100%. You know, and this is pretty cool. I think every home should have something like this.
I no longer have to worry about the cost of electricity. I don't have to worry about finding backup power during an outage.
I don't have to worry about the cold winter days or the hot summer nights.
It just works and I don't have to think about it.
Tesla Energy Powerwall. Put some panels on your roof. Uninterrupted power supply for your house. Your computer won't even reboot if there's a blackout. You'll have to look out the window at the dark houses around you to even know it happened. You know, once again, we're not sponsored by Tesla, whatever, but yeah, every house should have its own support system. And these multiple $100 bill electricity charges need to go. Stephen A. Smith talking to Tom Homan. That's an interview I didn't know we needed. They're talking about why Biden opened the borders.
Have you received any kind of explanation as to why former President Biden literally went against what former President Barack Obama did during his presidency? And the numbers show he actually deported more immigrants out of this country than Trump did. Yet Biden comes into office in 2020 and he went completely against what Obama had done.
Biden was Obama's most honest term. Biden was Obama's puppet. What you saw out of Biden as the worst president we've ever seen was actually Barack Hussein Obama as the worst president we've ever seen, because he was calling the shots. His team were calling all of the shots behind the scenes. But he got to honestly do what he always wanted to. He didn't want to stain his legacy. He didn't want to lose re-election. But with Biden, let it rip. This is what Obama always wanted to do.
You ever received intel explanation as to why he did that?
You know, that's a great question. You're the first ones to ask me that question, right? Now, I surmise, I have an opinion that I think this administration thought these millions of people are going to be future Democratic voters. But one of the things Biden also did, in addition to destroying all the programs we put in place to give us the most secure border, he overturned the Trump census rule, which means millions of people they release in sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census, which is going to result in what? More seats in the House for the damage. So I truly believe they saw a future political benefit from this. But you're exactly right. And I've said this. Why do I think he did it on purpose? Because Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama when he had those record removals. Alejandro Mayorkas was a deputy secretary under Obama when he had those removals. And we had families. We had thousands of families coming across the border every day. How did we stop it? We built family residential centers. We held them long enough to see a judge. 90% lost a case, 90%. So we put them in an airplane, sent them home, the border numbers tanked. So both those men knew how we solved that crisis. When they came back in, as the secretary.
Crisis being funded by NGOs that you're funding. It's not a crisis, it's a plan.
During the president, what did they do? The complete opposite. They didn't detain, they released. They didn't make them see a judge, and they weren't removing them. So they did the complete opposite of what they knew worked under President Obama.
Wow. Let me ask.
So weird. It's all so weird. Yeah, but our understanding is you can take another census where proper citizenship protocols are in place. It says every 10 years we must do one, but I don't think it says you have to wait the full 10 years to do one. I could be wrong about that. The mission has launched from SpaceX. They are going up to bring home those astronauts who are stuck up in space. Not stuck up. The Obama-Biden people are stuck up. They think they know better than you. These astronauts who are stuck in space. This is Crew 10, ready to go for launch. I haven't seen these updated spacesuits. They look kind of like, I don't know what they look like. Clint Russell saying, unless the, here you go. Bella's Chance here. Bella's Chance, what is your name, by the way? I know Ken, and I know, a lot of peeps in here. I keep calling you Bella's Chance. I know David and some of the regulars, but you say Pam Bondi remains on your no confidence list. It's an instinctive response to her farce of a beginning. Oh, yeah, Bella's Chance. You know all about. Wait, it wasn't the Standard Hotel. It was the Chateau Marmont. It was the Chateau, I believe. It was the Chateau. But Clint Russell here says, unless the Epstein files are hidden somewhere inside Fox News studios, it looks like Pam Bondi isn't really looking for them. That is a great quote. We learned about Clint Russell at the Libertarian Convention in 24 when we went there for the New American Media in Washington, D.C. And he was on stage with Vivek Ramaswamy and Dave Smith. We had Clint Russell as a guest on the Agree to Disagree show a couple months ago, maybe half a year ago. Go on Rumble and YouTube and check that out. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching. Hit the like, hit the hearts if you have a chance to engage. Your comments help the algorithm as well. But yeah, unless the Epstein files are hidden somewhere inside Fox Studios, it sure doesn't seem like Pam Bondi's really looking for them. This one here is Mike Ben.
This is just a good example of showing how deep the involvement is between George Soros and the State Department.
So here's an 19 minute video here of George Soros infiltrating the State Department. Scroll back and take a look at that. Okay, Elon congratulating SpaceX on 400 landings of the Falcon 9. I mean, imagine that for all those years. It's like, oh, we got to blow up all of our mechanisms. And Elon's like, how about we reuse the stuff? You don't blow up your car once you reach your destination. Oh, that car served its purpose. Let's blow it up. What? I mean, you know, maybe there's better ways to do everything. SpaceX will be launching 90% of all of Earth's payload mass to orbit this year. China will be less than 5%, and the rest of the world, including America, around 5%. And they're talking about SpaceX's Starship to Mars. Try to get SpaceX to Mars in 2026 with robots, and then 2029 for humans. Viktor Orban here is demanding, he's the Hungarian president. What does the Hungarian nation demand from Brussels? Let there be peace, freedom, and unity. They demand a Europe of nations. They demand equality before the law for all member states, restore the competences unwillingly taken from nations, national sovereignty and a strong veto for national governments, to expel Soros agents from the commission and remove corrupt lobbyists from parliament. Do not mortgage our grandchildren's future and eliminate the union's debt. Don't obstruct our National Guard from protecting our borders. Do not bring in migrants and remove those who have arrived illegally. And remove those who have arrived illegally. Corrupt dollars and euros must not flow into member states. Ban the unnatural re-education of our children. Protect Europe's Christian heritage. We demand peace in Europe, a union but without Ukraine. Equality, freedom, and brotherhood. So Luke is at Mar-a-Lago. Talk to him at the convention as well. See him everywhere. He's posting the strange things you see at Mar-a-Lago.
Very pleased to answer, and then I also will actually.
What's going on up there? Right there.
The director with 25 years.
It's a mechanized dog walking around the grounds.
26.
That's a robo dog being walked by this person. We're going to blink and robots are going to be everywhere. They're going to be on Mars. The robots are dogs. The robots are cats. They said, sir, why are all of the animals now mechanized? I said, I don't know. I think Elon's got a thing for the robot dogs and the robot cats. There you go. A little unsettling to me. But it is what it is. Here's the wall that Democrats would build if illegal immigrants were voting Republican. Minefields, electric fence, gun turrets, barbed wire at the top. I haven't seen this clip. Let's take a look. Bill Maher getting caught off guard by Batya Unger Sargon's answer about the Trump tariffs.
I want to answer the question about manufacturing in the 70s.
Oh, I don't blame you. I'll go back to that
So the reason people want to go back to the 70s is in the 70s, the largest share of our GDP was in the middle class. And that was not separate from the fact that 25% of our economy was in manufacturing.
Right, the largest share of our GDP
was in the middle class, the biggest chunk. The middle class,
most
people
of
who
what
are
was
middle
produced
income.
came from the middle, and now it comes from what? The rich.
Now, the top 20% controls over 50% of the GDP. Our economy was an upward funnel of wealth, and the largest share, which used to be in manufacturing, which gave a lot of working class people a middle class standard of living, now the largest share is in real estate and finance, meaning that asset-rich Americans are controlling over 50% of the GDP, and they have left the working class out of all of that prosperity that was generated. That manufacturing is still being done. It's just being done in other countries. It is still
for wages we will not work for.
That's exactly right. You're right, Bill. That's what the tariffs are for. They are to make American workers.
Oh, you heard the crowd catch it. Bill thought he had a zinger, and he's like, oh, wait. You mean we're outsourcing all the middle-class jobs for slave labor And when you put tariffs on it to make up for that, we're going to start making things here again and raising our wages again.
Other countries, it is still
For wages
making,
we will not
that's
work
exactly
for.
right. That you're right, Bill. That's what the tariffs are for. They are to make American workers more competitive in the global market. Why are we
Right.
accepting that there
No,
should be a
that's-
race to the bottom? You know, China, what is its competitive advantage over us? It's that it pays slave wages. Why should we accept that? They're still manufacturing our PPE, our pharmaceuticals, our cars. They're making all that stuff. Trump says there are 5 industries that we cannot have any kind of national security without having a stake in them. Pharmaceuticals, lumber, steel, aluminum, and I forget what the 5th one was. But these are really important, that we have a stake in the manufacturing of the things that we need as a nation, so that when China decides that it wants to go to war against us, we're not relying on them for steel and aluminum in order to fight them.
Okay, well, at least that's an answer.
Well, at least that's an answer. Yeah, it was a pretty damn good answer. Here's a bad answer. This Virginia runner who bashed the head of an opponent with a metal baton. Here she is holding a rally after getting charged with assault. Odd. Alaya Everett started sobbing, but the Portsmouth NAACP is now defending her. Okay, let's take a look. Watch.
We stand with you. That's why we.
We stand with you. Watch her. She's here on the left of the screen. Am I got to change the aspect ratio? Okay, the Van Allen belt. Now that's a good question. Let's go full screen so you guys can see this. Bam! Do you see that? She's right there. She's the last one in the darker clothing on the inside. I guess I could just rewind. Oh, this is pretty cool. I can do this like a film session. So there she is running on the inside. There's where she picks the baton back. Behind her head, behind her shoulders, over her head, winds up again, and then blasts this girl in the back of the head. Back into the right. Back into the right. Back into the right. What's that from? Look at this. This is an obvious ka-chow. Kablamo. Zoink. Bonk. All those things.
We stand with you. That's why we stand with you. We support you.
Thank y'all for supporting me. Because nobody else wanted to hear my story except for people that know me and people that know I would never do anything like that. I would never harm anybody. I'm not a fighter. I'm not that know me. And people that know I would never do anything like that. I would never harm anybody. I'm not a fighter. I'm not even confrontational. I wouldn't even do that on purpose. And I thank y'all for believing in me. And I love y'all.
Why is she getting defended? The NAACP defending this. No, we're not buying this. We saw the video. Laura Trump saying Joe Biden's entire presidency was orchestrated, wasn't aware of anything he was signing. All fake. Signatures fake. Hype around Kamala fake. His Oval Office fake. It's all been orchestrated and planned. Who the hell was in charge? What was it, Jake Sullivan? Where that people are thinking? Okay, I don't need full screen here. Back to this. Back to that. There we go. They're eating our robots. A crunchy treat. All right. So, yeah, the Van Allen radiation belt. So are we on a flat earth? Is this a simulation? Did we never go? Yeah, she's bat crazy, baton crazy. Anyway, am I crazy for watching that video and saying it looked very intentional and I'm not buying any excuses? All right, here's Enver Zuros. Are these names? These are not. A man pretending to be a woman just charged with kidnapping and attempting to murder after he allegedly entered an 89-year-old woman's home, sprayed her with bear repellent, tied her to a chair, then shoved her under the back seat of a car and fled. What? Tied her wrists and ankles, put a bag over her head, and she nearly died. Hey, what are you doing? Come on, take it easy, bud. My cat is ready for lunch. Zuros was finally caught near North Charleston after a large manhunt. Libs of TikTok reports it is breaking more trans violence. Just the crime alone is awful. Don't you dare mess with an 89-year-old woman. Roger Stone saying about Maxine Waters, she's trying to dodge behind being deposed under oath in a defamation lawsuit, probably because she does not want to answer questions under oath about the federal bailout she got for her husband's bank, where they both own stock, and she won't be allowed to wear that wig in prison. Let's keep your eye peeled on Maxine Waters. Canadian Patriot Media says a student pulls a gun on his elderly teacher. I don't know what the context of this video is, but I don't like any of it. I don't know what's funny, who's laughing. He's flipping people off. He's aiming a weapon at this person's face. Is this real or is this a prop? What is the context to this, and why is this student not behind bars? Did this happen in Canada? I don't know what I'm watching. There may be context, but I don't like what I'm seeing. Yep, here you go. There's that video again. Muckraker.com says an assassin with a ricin-tipped microphone and a mount of only a few specks of dust could kill the president in this manner. This is a security failure. How many attempts on Trump's life must be made before Secret Service tightens up?
So you're concerned
there it is.
Obviously, you're concerned. You're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight. Right?
Big story tonight. Yep. So people on the Ukraine enemies list are getting hit. They're trying to get people killed, says Jones. Sebastian Gorka responds to Jake Tapper.
Washington Post reported that the freeze on U.S. foreign assistance in Africa, are you concerned about them at all?
Is that the same Washington Post that propagated the Russia collusion hoax for the last 8 years?
Well, regardless of the Russia...
No, not regardless. You're quoting the Washington Post to me. I really couldn't care less what the Washington Post or the New York Times says, especially when it's anonymous government officials. If it's true, put your name to it. If it's not, shut up.
Bam. How about that? Okay, that was good. Cat Turd just got... Hi, Cat. Cat Turd just got swatted again for the 4th time. I live in the middle of nowhere. I know the cops here. They knew immediately what it was, blah, blah, blah. 4 times now. Here's a quick compilation of Democrats being against waste, fraud, and abuse.
Must make the cuts in waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare. We owe it to our country.
There is an enormous amount of waste and fraud and abuse in this government. When there is waste and fraud, you have an administration.
They're going to ding us because of the music in the background. But you get it. We're going to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare. It does mean we're going to cut some of that out. We want to cut the bad stuff and keep the good stuff, says Chuck Schumer. Just you don't hate these Democrats enough. J.K. Rowling says every single person who supports, normalizes, justifies, and celebrates child transition, genital mutilation should be forced to listen to this woman. Never, ever claim you couldn't have known what you were so enthusiastically enabling. The evidence was right there in front of you. This person, Jamie Whistle, talks about how she came to change her mind and she begs her party, please do the scientific right thing. So, anyway. Representative McClain says, look at your show here on CNN. It's nothing but fear-mongering. That's all the Democrats do. What's inflation doing? Is it up or down? Oh, it's down. What's the price of eggs? Oh, they're down. What's the price of mortgage? Oh, it's down, right? But we don't cover the positive things. We only cover the negative things to get everyone worked up. When you don't want to cover the other half and all you talk about is the one half, of course, that's what you're going to hear. I would prefer to give both sides of the story. That's what real news people used to do. They would give both sides of the story. Tariffs could cause some discomfort, no question, but let's take a look at the long term. Do you think there's any benefits in the long term? I can share with you that there are benefits in the long term if we can get this on a level playing field. That's what we need to do instead of just getting everyone all ginned up about, oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Let's talk about the vision on what we're actually trying to do, which is reverse the negative force put on America on track to be respected again. Good for her. This right here, Dr. David Cartland is showing you what Pfizer wanted to be kept under wraps for 75 years. The safe and effective vaccine has 9 pages of side effects. 1, 2, 3, 4. I only saw 4. Jim Brewer's in St. Petersburg. He started watching all the planes spraying. Who's flying and spraying and creating these fake clouds in the sky? I am so sick of what's happening. I want an answer to why they won't stop spraying in our skies. I can't stand it. All right, David Bann. In 1991, a Discovery mission 600 miles away from it had to turn away because the powerful radiation was so strong. The Van Allen belt. So in 1991, we learned to stay away, but in 67 and beyond, they went through it. Is the Earth flat? Say there's probably evidence to tell you probably is. Oh. We going there. I like the simulation theory. What did they call it in the Bible? A firmament? Like a dome? Like a Truman Show? Let's talk about it. But I want to know what's being sprayed in the skies. I can't stand it. Clandestine here. I don't think I gave you this exactly. So let me give you his take here about Bondi. Pam Blondie. Clandestine. Based on the optics from today at the Department of Justice, Trump and his team made a conscious effort to make it clear that he trusts AG Bondi. He knows what people have been saying online. He knows many are critical of Bondi. Today, he made an effort to show that he supports her. Seriously, that walk, though. I don't know about that walk. I know everyone has an opinion on how to run the government and how to drain the swamp, but ultimately Trump is the one who gets to make those decisions. He has a plan, and the American people chose him to carry out said plan. If Bondi is compromised or not accomplishing what Trump wants, Trump will know about it long before we do, and it will be up to him to correct it. But for the time being, Trump just made a pretty clear statement today that the DOJ under this new administration will be different, and that he has faith in his appointees such as Bondi and Cash. If you disagree with Trump's appointees or his plan, then in 4 years, you can vote for someone else. But until then, you've got no choice but to trust Trump, and he trusts Bondi. All right. There you have it. And that was what I wanted to share with you today. A chewing gum walk. Okay, Genesis 1 through 15, the firmament. Yeah, I looked out yesterday. I saw nonstop chemtrailing. I saw the X in the sky. I was like, damn it. I can't ugh. You know, what if global warming is real? Because it's obvious it's not. Oh my God, we're going to get censored on YouTube because we can't fund our climate cult without scaring everyone to death. Won't you think of the children? The ice caps will melt, says Al Gore, if we don't think of the children. But what if? What if all the chemtrails are to block the sun out like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons? If that's happening, I'd sure like to know. Would they tell us if they were? I don't know. But the climate cult are kind of wacky. Yeah, every pattern in the sky. Tic-tac-toe. X marks the spot, all the things. So sick of it. Who could get to the bottom of that? Bobby Kennedy, HHS? There you go, Bella's chance. I heard RFK Jr. is focusing on the chemtrails in the beginning. Yeah, God's tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe. Yeah, it's one of the topics it gets me so fired up. I can't stand it. I don't know what's in those chemtrails. The people that lie to your face and say, "Oh no, that's normal. That's just normal exhaust." No, it's not. I grew up in a world where that didn't happen. I'm old enough to remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. I'm not buying it. Yeah, when that stops, I'll feel like things have changed. But look, we didn't end up in this clusterfuck accidentally, and we didn't end up in this mess overnight. I know. I want to snap my fingers, wave my magic wand, and fix all the things. Sometimes that takes time. I don't want to wait because we've been so gaslit and lied to so many times. So many times. If someone's like, no, trust the plan, there's nothing I want to hear less than, oh, there's a big plan. Oh, it's the biggest sting operation in the history of mankind. What, for 9 years? And we're still waiting, and it's worse than ever before? Great plan. No, but you got to trust the plan. Nah, I'm good. Show me results. Show me results. We did let it happen because most of us don't want to get involved in this shit. Why would anybody? Trump was asked by Oprah, do you see yourself running for president? He goes, I would if I felt like there's no other choice, but it's such a nasty life. It's such a nasty endeavor. And it is. It's nasty. But we're involved because we have to be. Who else is going to do it? Plato said that indifference to public affairs gives a sanction to being ruled by inferior men. So yeah, if you're not going to pay attention to what's going on, guess what? They're going to put their hand in the cookie jar and take everything there. Then they'll smash the cookie jar and blame you for it. And then arrest you for complaining about them breaking your cookie jar. These people are mobsters. They're gangsters. They're banksters. They're evil. They are demonic. David saying the problem now is that I think every agency got involved in it, and it's going to have to be shut down in every agency. Yeah. Well, luckily there's a new sheriff in town. And I've called for Pam Bondi's resignation already. Put up or shut up. Show me something. Show me something. So we'll see. Cooler heads may prevail. If Trump's going to trust her, then that's the person we selected. I mean, it's not like we had a choice. We weren't going to give Obama a 5th term. His 2 terms. The Trump collusion term where he did everything to get him impeached. Then the phony Biden term. And then a Kamala term. Oh my God, 5 terms for Obama? No thanks. But I mean, that is a good point. Like, Trump clearly trusts her. Trump is like, they're doing this publicly so that they all see they're on the same page. So one of these days, we're going to wake up to some really interesting news. And that's why I do the news. That's why I do the news every day. I do the Mountain Dew. I do the news every day. I hadn't normally done the Agree to Disagree show or the TNAM AM show every day. I'm usually taking Sunday off. I don't consider this, I mean, it is work. Don't get me wrong. I got to dedicate, shit. 1/4 of my day, 6 hours to broadcasting and research and production. And it's a full-time job, but I don't really consider it a job, hanging out, talking to you guys and going through the news and seeing what there is to see. I enjoy this. Was that you? I enjoy this. And I hope you do too. They're definitely demonic for sure. So as long as we have a voice, we might as well use it. And like I told John McAfee in I believe it was our last interview, I said, I don't know what happens when we die, but if we die and there's a maker on the other side, I'd sure like to look that person in the eye and say, I don't know if what I did made a difference, but I tried. I could sleep well knowing that I could tell a maker, look at my body of work, man. I dedicated, 14 years into this already? May Day is our birthday. April 1st, May 1st, right around there. I tried. So yeah, we'll wake up tomorrow and find out some of the news, and we'll continue our conversation then. At the bottom of your screen, that's where you're going to find how to find the New American Media. Do a search for The New American Media on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube. And you can link up with our page. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_media_. And you can subscribe to our podcast. The TNAM AM Show and the Agree to Disagree Show are all under the umbrella of the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. And if anybody would like to make donations, we're on patreon.com/The New American Media, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App, $ Brian Engelman, and Fuzz Installment at PayPal. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. We'll be back Monday. Maybe I'll do tomorrow. I don't know. When you set your own schedule, you get to do whatever you want. We'll see about tomorrow. But I'll plan on being back bright and squirrely on Monday. So get out there, enjoy some of this wonderful Saturday. It's rainy where I'm at. Like I said, hail and snow this morning. 70 degrees, and we had hail and snow. It's all melted, but now it's still coming down. But if you can, get out there in the universe, engage with some people. Go somewhere you haven't been. Go eat somewhere new. Go talk to someone new. I don't know. Life's a video game. Walk around the universe and press the A button. The thought bubble comes up. Would you like to talk to this person? Okay. How are you? That can be fun. It can be annoying. It can be pointless. It can be scary. But it's also fun. It's just a video game. Don't take it too seriously. Also, take it so seriously because we're trying to save the world from demons. Can it be both things? I guess maybe it can be both things. I didn't create this. I just woke up in it. I don't know what it means. I'm just trying to navigate it. But I thank you all for navigating over here to the New American Media, finding the TNAM AM Show and the Agree to Disagree Show. And we appreciate all of your support. So until next time, I appreciate you.